Chapter 4087. The top genius of the demon clan, one of the candidates of the universe young geniuses list, stood in front of Bunan, preventing him from making a move. You can't make a move. If you cause too much of a commotion and break through the restrictions of the formation and attract demons, we'll all die. If you want to die, don't drag us down with you," said the genius of the demon clan coldly. His entire body was covered by demon chi. Obviously, he wanted to stop Bunan from making a move. He didn't want to help Lu Ming. However, if Lu Ming and Bunan fought, it might lead to very bad consequences. First, Lu Ming and Ling Yuwei's fighting strength was astonishing. In the Heavenly Palace they were definitely the top fighting strength. If they died in Bunan's hands, it would undoubtedly weaken the fighting strength of the Heavenly Palace. Second, their fighting strength was too strong. Bunan couldn't kill them instantly. If he couldn't kill them instantly, the battle between the two sides would be very intense. If the fluctuations broke through the restrictions of the formation and attracted demons, they would all be in danger. Because of these 2 days, the genius of the demon clan had made a move to stop them. Dong Yuanqing also had the same idea. Bunan's face was gloomy. However, with the intervention of the genius of the demon clan and Dong Yuanqing, he definitely couldn't touch Lu Ming. Besides, how could he not know the 2 points from before? He was also very afraid. When he made a move before, he didn't expect Lu Ming to be so difficult to deal with. Later, he couldn't pull his face down, so he forced himself to make a move. Now that there was a way out, he naturally had to follow the way out. Mu Yun, this time for the sake of brother Dong Yuanqing and brother and I'll spare you for the time being. After this battle with the demons, I'll make you pay the price," said Bunan coldly. Aha! Lu Ming smiled disdainfully. Bunan thought that he was very strong. At most, his cultivation level was higher than his by 2 levels. Now, Lu Ming's cultivation level was close to the 5th Godly Emperor layer. He believed that it wouldn't be long before he broke through to the 5th Godly Emperor layer. Once Lu Ming broke through to the 5th Godly Emperor layer, their fighting strength would be completely reversed. At that time, who would have to pay the price? Seeing Lu Ming's disdainful smile, Bunan's eyes flashed with murderous intent as his chest heaved up and down. He really wished he could immediately make a move and kill Lu Ming in one move. Unfortunately, he couldn't do it. With a gloomy face, Bunan turned around and left, returning to the rock to rest. The demon prodigy was expressionless as he stepped into the air and left. As for Dong Yuanqing, he gave Lu Ming a kind smile and turned to leave. Mu Yun's strength has actually reached this level. Even Bunan can't do anything to him. That's right, I remember that when the matter between him and Ling Yue was in an uproar, his cultivation was only at the Divine Lord realm, and he could only compete with those quasi-emperors. So quickly, his strength is already able to show off in the Divine Emperor realm. This is absolutely astonishing. I didn't pay much attention to him back then, thinking that he could only show off his might in the Divine Lord realm. I didn't expect that his strength would surpass mine so quickly. Many people were secretly discussing and marveling at Lu Ming's strength. The main reason was that Lu Ming's rise was too short. Back then, the matter between Lu Ming and Ling Yue had caused an uproar. Many quasi-emperor level prodigies had gone to the Iron Sea Starfield group to challenge Lu Ming, attracting the attention of many people. But how long had it been since that time? Lu Ming had grown to this extent. It was truly astonishing. At the same time, they thought of Ling Yue. Ling Yue's speed of improvement was similarly astonishing. If they continued to grow at this speed, there was a high chance that they would truly step into the universe prodigy list in the future. Hearing everyone's discussion, Bunan felt even more unhappy. It was as if he was the one who set off Lu Ming. Lu Ming used him as a stepping stone to boost his reputation. Bunan, adjust your mentality. We still have to cultivate the joint attack technique later. This is related to our own lives. As long as we defeat the demon after we leave, wouldn't that Mu Yun be at your mercy? The demon prodigy sent a voice transmission to Bunan. Bunan took a deep breath and slowly calmed himself down. After a period of time, Dong Yuanqing, Bunan, and the demon prodigy continued to practice the joint attack technique. The joint attack technique was very mysterious. It was a secret technique of the world's divine turtle race. It wasn't easy to cultivate and required constant practice to familiarize oneself with it. In the blink of an eye, it had already been 3 days since Lu Ming arrived. In these 3 days, the Heavenly Palace would constantly send people out to investigate the situation outside. However, many people were sent out and few returned. Obviously, it was very dangerous to go out and investigate. Those who went out to investigate were mostly doomed. Especially on the 3rd day, not a single one of the 8 people sent out returned. This made everyone's hearts very heavy. They had a bad premonition, as if a storm was about to come. The heavy pressure made it difficult for everyone to breathe. Rumble. Suddenly heaven and earth shook violently. It was as if the entire world was shaking violently. The sky was shaking and the earth was rumbling. Everyone's expression changed drastically. What's going on? Could it be that the demon found this place? Exclamations sounded one after another. Crack. Suddenly, the sound of porcelain shattering could be heard in the sky. Then a crack suddenly appeared in the sky. As soon as the crack appeared, it quickly expanded. Swoosh, swoosh. Figures began to emerge from the cracks. Demons. All of them were demons. There were at least 1,000 of them densely packed together. The demons are here. That's Eugene, the demon prodigy Eugene. Someone exclaimed with a pale face. The leader of the demons was very eye-catching. This was because this demon looked very similar to a human. He was burly and wore red battle armor. He had a head of fiery red hair that fluttered in the wind like a dancing flame. He held a demonic saber in his hand. This demonic saber was different from the other demonic sabers. It was fiery red and had demonic flames dancing on it. Eugene. Lu Ming had heard this name more than once during this period of time. Because of Eugene, the balance between the demons and the heavenly palace had been broken. The demons had gained the upper hand. He was the strongest genius of the demons who had participated in this battle. He had the strength of the 6th godly emperor layer. He was a peerless genius who could fight against cultivators who were 5 cultivation levels higher than him. The heavenly palace was in a state of chaos. Kill all the bastards of the heavenly palace. Victory will be ours. Eugene waved his demonic saber. Die. Kill all the bastards of the heavenly palace. Die. Shouted the other demons. They moved like lightning and threw themselves at the people of the heavenly palace. His speed was extremely fast. Before his figure had even reached them, a series of terrifying attacks had already rolled towards the people of the heavenly palace in an overwhelming manner. Fight them to the death. Fight to the death. Shouted the battle god Yuan Wen and the others of the battle saint tribe. The other people of the heavenly palace also attacked the demons with their full strength. Chapter 4088. The people of the heavenly palace had no choice but to fight back. They couldn't just sit there and wait for death. Boom boom boom. The attacks from both sides collided in the air. Terrifying shockwaves swept out in all directions, tearing the earth and the void apart. The formation that covered the area was also torn to pieces by the violent shockwaves. After a wave of attacks, the two sides collided. Instantly, horrible shrieks filled the air. Many people had already died when they collided. Without a doubt, the people of the heavenly palace were at a complete disadvantage. As soon as the battle started, Eugene looked at Dong Yuan, Qing Bunan and the others. Dong Yuan Qing and the other two began to execute a mystical footwork. Their figures flickered continuously, forming a mystical trajectory, as if they were executing a joint attack. Swoosh. A beam of godly light shot out from between them and killed 2 of the young geniuses. A cultivator of the 6th godly emperor layer, who could fight cultivators 4 levels higher than him, coughed up blood and was blown away. Joint attack? Interesting. Eugene revealed a look of curiosity as he stepped forward. His violent aura was like an erupting volcano. Nobody dared get close to Eugene, including the demons. Move aside and deal with the others. I'll deal with those 3, said Eugene coldly. He then moved towards Dong Yuan Qing and the others. Swoosh. The demonic saber in his hand rapidly grew in size as he slashed out at Dong Yuan Qing and the other 2 with a shocking might. How terrifying. Ordinary cultivators of the 9th godly emperor layer couldn't withstand a single attack from him. They would all be killed instantly. He was relying on his own strength, he wasn't using a powerful weapon. The demon blade in Eugene's hand was condensed from his demon chi. It's Eugene. Stop him. Shouted Dong Yuan Qing. The 3 geniuses used their full strength to launch a joint attack. Dazzling godly lights filled the air and an ancient turtle shell appeared in the sky. Boom. The fiery red demonic saber struck the ancient tortoise shell, causing it to vibrate violently. Gotcha. The tortoise shell continued to vibrate, and in the end, it emitted a cracking sound. It was covered with numerous cracks and in the end, it exploded with a bang. However, that demonic saber was also blocked. Dong Yuan Qing and the other 2 were overjoyed. They had managed to block Eugene's attack. It's effective. The combined attack can block his attack. Great. Dong Yuan Qing and the other 2 heaved a sigh of relief. Before the battle with Eugene they were not confident at all. Now he finally had some confidence. Retreat. Everyone retreat to the eastern valley. We'll bring up the rear. Then Donji Wonking roared. Retreat. Let's go. The people from the heavenly palace shouted and wanted to retreat to the east. However, how could the demons allow them to retreat? Kill. Don't let any of them go. They're all delicious. I swallowed 2 raw a few days ago. It was so delicious. The numerous abyssal geniuses roared as they charged forward with unstoppable momentum. In particular, there were a few demons who were simply too strong. They were on the same level as Dong Yuanqing and Bunan. Among them, Luo Shi, who had fought with Lu Ming previously, was among them. These demons were unstoppable. No one could defeat them. Poof. A genius from the heavenly palace had his head crushed by Luo Shi's claw. Red and white matter splattered everywhere. Then he took a step forward and crushed a genius from the heavenly palace. His eyes were ferocious as he glanced around. Then his gaze fell on Lu Ming. Boy, you ran away last time. Let's see where you can run this time. Luo Shi roared. He was very excited and his burly body rushed towards Lu Ming. Bang! Lu Ming threw a punch and a genius of the 4th godly emperor layer was smashed to pieces. He died on the spot. You came at the right time. Let's fight again. Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning. He was fearless as he rushed towards Luo Shi. The two of them were like 2 meteorites as they collided with each other. Boom. There was an earth-shattering explosion and Lu Ming was pushed back. However, Luo Shi's attack was also blocked. Mu Yun is attacking. He's going to fight Luo Shi. Let's retreat. When the geniuses from the heavenly palace saw that Lu Ming had blocked Luo Shi, they were overjoyed. They looked at Lu Ming gratefully and then ran towards the east. Die, 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 shouted Luo Shi furiously. His eyes were filled with murder as he threw himself at Lu Ming. His gigantic demon claws were as big as a small mountain. Lu Ming let out a long howl. His entire body was shrouded in dazzling rays of light. He pushed his combat ability to the peak as he fought with the Luo corpse. Lu Ming didn't fight against Luo Shi because he wanted to save other people. He wanted to use Luo Shi's strength to stimulate his potential and break through to the 5th godly emperor layer as soon as possible. The heavenly palace's situation was becoming more and more dangerous. They couldn't defeat the demons. If things went on like this, the heavenly palace would really be defeated in this confrontation. If the lips died, the teeth would be cold. If the heavenly palace was defeated, he would also be in danger. He had a strong sense of crisis. He had to break through quickly. Only by breaking through to the 5th godly emperor layer could he protect himself. Otherwise it would be very dangerous. He wanted to use Luo Shi's strength to break through to the 5th godly emperor layer as soon as possible. Lu Ming and Luo Shi had an intense battle. The two of them fought fiercely. It was very tragic. Just like last time, Lu Ming was still not a match for him. He was completely suppressed. After a dozen moves, his hands were covered in blood and flesh. Mu Yun. Not far away, Ling Yue looked worried. She wanted to draw her bow and help Lu Ming. Don't worry about me. Let me do it myself. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Ling Yue. His eyes were filled with determination as he continued to fight Luo Shi. As for Ling Yue, she could only draw her bow and shoot at another terrifying demon genius, blocking that person. You're courting death. The other demon genius was at the same level as Luo Shi. He stared at Ling Yue and attacked her. However, Ling Yue quickly retreated, not allowing her opponent to get close. She continued to draw her bow and shoot. Ling Yue was a long-range attacker. Only by distancing herself would she be able to unleash her strongest power. Furthermore, her speed was very fast. That demon wouldn't be able to catch up to her in a short period of time. Just like that, this powerful demon was restrained by Ling Yue for a short period of time. This way, the pressure on the heavenly palace's side was slightly reduced, allowing more people to rush towards the east. In the east there was a canyon. Dong Yuanqing had already set up a formation there. It could be considered a formation within a formation, used to escape and move. Even so, the battle was still incomparably tragic. On the side of the heavenly palace, people were constantly falling. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming had already endured dozens of attacks from Luo Shi. His injuries were very serious. His entire body was tattered, his bones were broken, and his flesh and blood were flying everywhere. It was a tragic sight. In the sky, the most important battle was the battle between Dong Yuanqing and the other two in Eugene. At this moment, the 4 of them had also exchanged dozens of blows. At this time, Dong Yuanqing and the other 2 were no longer a match for them and were retreating step by step. Chapter 4089. Dong Yuanqing and the other 2 had exchanged dozens of blows with Eugene. This was already their limit, and they were only able to achieve this result by relying on their joint attack technique. Otherwise they would have been crushed like rotten wood. Even so, they were still forced to retreat. Fortunately, almost all of the remaining people from the heavenly palace had rushed into the valley. Let's retreat too. Dong Yuanqing sent a sound transmission to Bunan and the others. Boom. They condensed another turtle shell and blocked Eugene's saber strike. The turtle shell shattered and the violent saber chi rushed towards them. Their bodies trembled and their faces turned pale. However, with the help of this force, they retreated rapidly and rushed towards the eastern valley. You want to leave? Leave all of them behind. Eugene shouted coldly as the saber light slashed out once again. Muyun, retreat. At the side, Ling Yue shouted and shot an arrow. This arrow was shot towards the Luo corpse. As for Lu Ming, while the Luo corpse was blocking Ling Yue's arrow, he explosively retreated and also rushed towards the eastern valley. In fact, he was very close to the eastern valley. During the battle with the Luo corpse, Lu Ming had intentionally or unintentionally approached the eastern valley. The reason he fought with the Luo corpse was to stimulate his potential so that he could break through. He wasn't courting death, so he would naturally leave a way out for himself. As for Ling Yue, she had been swimming the entire time, and was even closer to the eastern valley. Therefore, Lu Ming and Ling Yue moved and rushed into the valley. As soon as they rushed into the valley, the environment of the world suddenly changed, completely changing its appearance. This was an illusion array. Even if the demons followed them in, they wouldn't be able to find any traces of them. Following that, the jade talisman on their bodies lit up, and Lu Ming felt a wave of energy envelop his entire body. Lu Ming did not resist and allowed the force to pull him. In the next moment, his figure disappeared from where he stood. Then Lu Ming found himself underground. Array within array. There was an escape array within the illusion array that allowed them to enter the ground. Underground, there was a passage that led to the front. Ling Yue was right beside him. In addition, there were other people from the heavenly palace. Go, let's go. Someone from the heavenly palace shouted. Then they followed the passage and rushed forward. At the end of the passage, another matrix appeared. They stepped into the formation and left in a flash. In the next moment, they appeared on the ground, but they were already far away from the area they were in. There was more than one hiding place in the heavenly palace. Previously, Dong Yuanqing had set up formations in different places in the area as hiding spots. They had just moved to another hiding place. People kept appearing beside them. However, Dong Yuanqing and the other two were nowhere to be seen. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. Dong Yuanqing and the other two were the strongest among them, so they could not fight. If they did, the heavenly palace would be finished in this battle. Fortunately, not long after, there was a flash of space and three figures appeared. These three people were none other than Dong Yuanqing, Bunan, and the devil race's prodigy. The three of them were pale and their auras were weak. Blood flowed out from the corners of their mouths. Clearly they were injured. However, they survived in the end. Brother Dong Yuanqing, have you gotten rid of those devils? I wonder if the devils will chase after us? Someone asked worriedly, afraid that the devils would follow the path they took. Don't worry, the matrix behind us will automatically be destroyed. They won't be able to catch up to us. They won't be able to find us in a short period of time. Our injured friends can have a good rest. Dong Yuanqing said. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. However, when they looked around, their hearts became even heavier. Only about 300 people could make it here. Previously, there were 500 people. In other words, another 200 people from the heavenly palace had been killed by the devils in the battle just now. The heavenly palace's strength was getting weaker and weaker. If this continued, the situation would become more and more disadvantageous for them. Everyone, let's have a good rest first. Dong Yuanqing said. After saying that, he found a place, sat down cross-legged, swallowed a few divine pills, and began to heal his injuries. The others also found a place to sit down and meditate. In this battle, everyone had more or less suffered different degrees of injuries and needed to rest. Lu Ming also found a place and sat down cross-legged. He activated the forbidden power, and his injuries quickly recovered. In the battle just now, Lu Ming's injuries were very serious. They were not any weaker than the previous battle with Luo Shi. Of course, the potential that was stimulated was also very shocking. In their previous hiding place, rumble. The ground kept shaking. A large number of devils stood in the void and raised the valley in the east to the ground. Damn it. That kid got away again. The next time I catch him, I'll skin him alive and pull out his tendons. Luo Shi roared. The other devils were also unhappy. Eugene stood in the void, his eyes as cold as a knife. This temporary planet is only so big. Let's see where they can run to. Pass down the order. Search thoroughly. We must find the people from the heavenly palace. Eugene ordered. On this temporary planet, Eugene was the strongest prodigy with the strongest combat strength. The other devils naturally obeyed Eugene's orders. Thousands of devils divided into groups and searched for the people from the heavenly palace on a large scale. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. In the new hiding place after 2 days, most of the people's injuries were more or less healed. Lu Ming's injuries were also healed. Not only had he recovered to his peak condition, but his cultivation level had also increased. He had broken through to the top of the 4th godly emperor layer. I didn't break through. What a pity. Lu Ming was annoyed. He had wanted to take this opportunity to break through to the 5th godly emperor layer. Originally he had a chance, but unfortunately his cells didn't have enough potential. After breaking through to the top of the 4th godly emperor layer, it would be difficult for him to break through again. Lu Ming could only sigh speechlessly. He then took out the spirit wood heart and began to absorb it to store his potential again. Time passed. 5 days passed in the blink of an eye. During those 5 days the devils didn't find them, which gave them a chance to rest. After those 5 days almost everyone's injuries had healed. As for Lu Ming, he had also restored the potential in his cells to 100%. The price was that he had consumed 9,000 spiritual wood hearts. He had obtained 50,000 spiritual wood hearts from the fairy clan. There wasn't much left. Only half of them were left. My potential is full. Unfortunately, I still need one more step to break through to the 5th godly emperor layer. One more step. Lu Ming was lost in thought. Then he looked in a certain direction. He was looking in the direction of Bu Nan, the genius of the angel clan. Lu Ming's eyes glittered. Chapter 4090. Lu Ming was just a hair away from breaking through to the 5th godly emperor layer. It was just a hair's breadth away. If he cultivated step by step, it would take a long time. But if there was enough pressure, he could stimulate his potential and break through very quickly. There were no evil demons here, so he could only fight against the people of the heavenly palace. But there were only 3 people from the heavenly palace who could give him enough pressure. One was Dong Yuanqing, one was a peerless cultivator from the demon clan, and the third was Bu Nan. But Dong Yuanqing and the demon clan had no enmity with him. Even if he wanted to fight against them, they wouldn't want to kill him, so he wouldn't be able to stimulate his potential. Bu Nan was more suitable for him. Lu Ming wanted to challenge Bu Nan. He wanted to use his strength to break through to the 5th godly emperor layer. But when he glanced at Dong Yuanqing and the demon clan, he had to give up on that idea. If he really fought against Bu Nan, it would cause a huge commotion. It would probably attract the evil demons. Dong Yuanqing and the demon clan wouldn't let them fight. They would try to stop them. Lu Ming thought about it for a moment and decided to focus on cultivation. Bzzz. Suddenly the ground started shaking. Everybody was startled. They stopped cultivating and released their divine qi. They were on guard. They thought the evil demons had arrived. But they didn't see the evil demons. They saw a beam of light. In the distance, a beam of light shot up to the sky. It passed through the deployment spell they had set up. That beam of light was black and white. It was as if a white divine dragon and a black divine dragon were entangled together, spiraling upwards. That's the place where the maps of the good fortune lands are hidden. The maps of the good fortune lands are about to appear. Someone exclaimed. On this temporary planet, the master-level existences of the Celestial Palace and the demons had each set up a land of good fortune. But they were hidden very well. Without a map, they wouldn't be able to find them. The maps of the 2 lands of good fortune were hidden in the same place. Only when the battle between the 2 sides reached a certain point and a certain number of people died would the maps appear. The black and white beam of light meant that the maps of the 2 good fortune lands were about to appear. Furthermore, it wasn't particularly far from them. Looking at the distance, it should be on the half of the planet that was close to them. Were they going to snatch the map? Everyone looked at each other and hesitated for a moment. The black and white pillars of light were so obvious. If they saw it, the demons must have seen it too. The demons would definitely go there. If they left here to seize the map, they would definitely encounter the demons. How could they be a match for the demons? If he went, wouldn't he be courting death? However, they were now at a complete disadvantage and were completely passive. They were being chased by the demons all day long. The land of fortune could be said to be their last chance. The purpose of a land of good fortune was to give the side that was behind a chance to make a comeback, filling the battle with suspense. If they did not fight for it and instead let the demons take the map and obtain the creation of the land of creation, then the strong would become stronger and the weak would become weaker. Then the heavenly palace would have no chance at all. What awaited them was only defeat and death. Do you want to give it a shot? I think we should give it a shot. Otherwise we'll definitely lose. The outcome is already decided. If we hide here we'll be found sooner or later. We're just waiting for death. That's right. I think we should give it a shot too. I'd rather die in battle than wait for death here. That's right. Many people's fighting spirit was aroused and they decided to give it a shot. In the end, everyone looked at Dong Yuanqing, Bu Nan, and the monster from the demon race. The three of them were the strongest among the group. If the three of them were unwilling to go, then their chances would be slim even if they went. I think we have to give it a shot, but we can't be impulsive. What if the demons are waiting for us to take the bait? I think we should send someone out to investigate the situation before making a decision. What do you think? Dong Yuanqing said and then looked at Bu Nan and the monster from the demon race. I have no objections. I have no objections either. Bu Nan and the monster from the demon race nodded. Very well. Send someone out to investigate the demon situation now. Dong Yuanqing nodded and immediately began to select people to go out and investigate the situation. Although those who were selected were unwilling, they had no choice but to leave this place to investigate the situation. Everyone waited quietly. Not long after, someone returned. They said that there were no traces of the demons in the surrounding area. The demons should have all gone in the direction of the black and white light pillar to snatch the map. After hearing this news, everyone began to discuss again whether they should go and snatch the map. Now that things had come to this, everyone hesitated again. After all, their strength was too far away from the demons. If they went to fight with the demons for the map, it was very likely that they would be annihilated by the demons before they could obtain the map. It was a matter of life and death. Everyone began to hesitate again. Swoosh. At this moment, Lu Ming stepped into the air and exuded a powerful aura. Boom. Lu Ming blasted out a punch. A fist force penetrated the void and blasted toward Bu Nan. It happened so suddenly that everyone was stunned. They did not know why Lu Ming would suddenly attack Bu Nan. Bu Nan was also a little stunned. However, he was a peerless monster after all. His reaction was very fast. He opened his mouth and let out a long roar. A pure white sword light shot out from his mouth and slashed at Lu Ming's fist force. Boom. With a violent roar, Lu Ming's fist force was dispersed by the sword light. Kit, you're courting death. Bu Nan roared. A terrifying aura burst out. 12 wings stretched out and a terrifying holy light shot up into the sky, illuminating the sky. Do you only know how to talk? Let's see what you're capable of. Lu Ming did not stop. He raised his combat strength to the extreme. His body was covered in dazzling light. Both of his fists blasted out continuously. Streaks of terrifying fist force blasted toward Bu Nan. You're courting death. Bu Nan roared. He clenched his fist and a cross-shaped holy sword appeared. With a flap of his angelic wings, he turned into a holy light and rushed toward Lu Ming. Boom, boom, boom. The two of them clashed fiercely. All of this happened too suddenly. Many people just woke up from their days. What's wrong with Mu Yun? Why is he suddenly fighting with Bu Nan? I don't know. He suddenly attacked. He must be crazy. You're courting death. This time Bu Nan will definitely not let him go. Could it be that he doesn't want to die in the hands of the devil and wants to die in the hands of Bu Nan? However, if he dies in the hands of the devil, he will become his food. That's too miserable. Many people were discussing among themselves. They could not figure out Lu Ming's thoughts. Dong Yuanqing and the monster from the devil race were also stunned. The battle broke out too suddenly. They wanted to stop it, but it was too late. Chapter 4091. Dong Yuanqing and the demon cultivator wanted to stop him, but it was too late. Besides, they didn't have any intention of stopping him. That was because the demons were heading towards the black and white pillars of light to obtain the map. No matter how big the commotion was, it wouldn't attract the demons. In their opinion, Lu Ming was overestimating himself. He was obviously weaker than Bu Nan, but he still took the initiative to attack him. He was courting death. However, Lu Ming was also a strong fighter. They planned to save Lu Ming when Lu Ming was half dead. Ling Yue was in a daze at first. Lu Ming's sudden attack on Bu Nan was too sudden. However, after spending some time with him, he had a better understanding of Lu Ming. She knew that Lu Ming wouldn't attack Bu Nan for no reason. There had to be a reason. Therefore, she secretly circulated her godly strength. As long as anyone tried to stop Lu Ming, she would stop them. At the same time, when Lu Ming was in danger, she could save Lu Ming. Boom boom, Lu Ming and Bu Nan's battle was very intense. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged more than 10 moves. Bu Nan was really strong. He wasn't any weaker than Luo Shi. As soon as they started fighting, Lu Ming was at a disadvantage. However, during this time, his cultivation level had risen to the top of the fourth godly emperor layer. His strength had increased a little. He was in a better situation than when he had fought Luo Shi. After a dozen moves, Lu Ming retreated rapidly. He felt like every muscle in his body was shaking violently. He felt like he was being torn apart. Not enough again? Shouted Lu Ming. He took the initiative to attack Bunan. Before he arrived, he had already used the Great Demon Sword technique. A dozen demon swords whistled through the air and shot towards Bunan. At the same time, Lu Ming activated the Great Divine Wind technique and the Great Shattering technique to the extreme. He continuously punched out. Streams of fist force smashed toward Bunan like meteors. Angelic sword. Bunan roared, and the holy light on his body became even more intense. More than a dozen pure white feathers flew out and transformed into 12 pure white divine swords. They pierced through the air as if they were going to split the sky in half. The 12 angelic divine swords were the first to clash with the dozen or so demonic swords, resulting in an earth-shattering explosion. The dozen or so demonic swords collapsed immediately. They only managed to resist for a single breath. Then the angelic godly sword collided with Lu Ming's fist energy. The terrifying chi was like waves of water, rushing in all directions. It was very shocking. The surrounding people hurriedly retreated and distanced themselves from it, afraid that they would be swept up. The rocks on the ground exploded and the void was torn apart. The entire world was shaking violently. The formation covering this area was also constantly vibrating, and a strong force seeped out of the formation. If there were demons around, they would definitely be attracted by the commotion. This was also the reason why Lu Ming didn't make a move earlier. After a series of booming sounds, Lu Ming's figure retreated again. This time Lu Ming was injured. A sword light had pierced through his chest, and a hideous wound had appeared. I can feel it, whispered Lu Ming. He could sense that his cells were trembling. His potential was unceasingly being stimulated. His injuries were quickly healing. At the same time, that potential was transforming into his cultivation. He could sense that the bottleneck of the fifth godly emperor layer was about to loosen. He could already see the fifth godly emperor layer waving at him. Just one more step. Lu Ming had the impression that he was one step away from breaking through to the fifth godly emperor layer. Bunan, is that all you've got? That's the 12-winged angel of the angel clan? You're not as good as the rumors, shouted Lu Ming. You want to die? I will cut you into 10,000 pieces, shouted Bunan furiously. His eyes were filled with murder. He was a 12-winged angel of the angel race. Moreover, his cultivation level was 2 levels higher than Lu Ming's. However, he could not do anything to Lu Ming even after exchanging many blows. To him, this was a great humiliation. He had already decided that no matter what, he had to kill Lu Ming. No matter who tried to stop him, it was useless. Angel King. Bunan let out a long howl as holy light shot into the sky. In the next moment, a huge figure emerged from his body. It was the silhouette of an angel, but it was gigantic. It had 12 angel wings, but those wings weren't white, they were golden. At the same time, it had a crown on its head. It was the silhouette of the Angel King. Boom. As soon as the silhouette of the Angel King appeared, a terrifying chi exploded like a volcano. The silhouette of the Angel King was holding an angel godly sword, and it moved towards Lu Ming. Boom boom boom. Heaven and earth exploded, and the void collapsed under the angel godly sword. Lu Ming felt a terrifying pressure pressing down on him. All the muscles in his body suddenly tensed up. Muyun. Ling Yu Wei cried out in alarm, revealing a worried expression. This was because Bunan's move was too terrifying. Even though she was a distance away, she could still feel the astonishing power. A battle bow appeared in her hand, ready to save him at any time. Don't do it, let me do it myself. Lu Ming's voice came into Ling Yu Wei's ears. Her movements immediately stopped. Come on. Just use this move to help me break through. Lu Ming's eyes revealed an excited light. Before this move even arrived, Lu Ming already felt an extremely strong pressure. Under the strong pressure, the potential in Lu Ming's cells was constantly being stimulated. My strongest move. Lu Ming roared, and all of his strength erupted in an instant. His entire body turned into a ball of dazzling light as he soared into the sky, charging towards the sword slashed out by the Angel King's silhouette. Boom. In the next moment, the attacks of the two collided heavily. This time it was as if two planets had collided. The terrifying strength chi swept out, and wherever it passed, the void collapsed into chaos and darkness. Retreat. Quickly retreat. The surrounding people were already far enough away, but now they realized that they were not far enough. The terrifying strength Qi quickly swept towards them, and everyone retreated once again. "Look, Mu Yun can't take it anymore," someone shouted. Everyone saw that the ball of light that Lu Ming had transformed into was violently shaking, and then with a schwa sound, it smashed towards the ground. Like a meteor, it heavily smashed into the ground. The ground shook continuously and gravel flew everywhere. The gravel carried a wave of air that swept in all directions. "How is it?" Everyone stared in that direction. Soon, the gravel scattered and a huge crater appeared on the ground. It was dark and unfathomable. "Humph, under this move of mine, Mu Yun can only die," Bunan said coldly. He stood in the air, and the huge shadow of the Angel King still appeared behind him. Chapter 4092. Mu Yun is dead? The crowd was stupefied when they heard Bunan. Such a strong cultivator had been killed by Bunan just like that? That Mu Yun really wanted to die. He wasn't as strong as Bunan, but he took the initiative to fight against him. He deserved to die. Indeed, he deserved it. That's what happens when you overestimate yourself. Some people were talking loudly. They were obviously trying to curry favor with Bunan. Mu Yun. Ling Yuwei tightly gripped the bow in her hand as she stared at the huge pit. Even though she knew that Lu Ming had a goal, she still couldn't help but worry when she saw that. In the sky, Dong Yuanqing and the demon cultivator shook their heads. They felt it was a pity. But they didn't know why, but deep in their hearts, they sighed with relief. Lu Ming was too strong. He only had the strength of the fourth godly emperor layer, but he was already so strong. It was unimaginable. They felt a lot of pressure from him. Lu Ming's cultivation level was only 2 layers lower than theirs. If Lu Ming's cultivation level caught up with theirs, he would surpass them sooner or later. If they could survive this ordeal, Lu Ming would become their strongest competitor in the future. At that moment, Lu Ming had died at Bunan's hands. They would have one less enemy. Anyway, even though Mu Yun's fighting strength is not bad, he won't be able to help us in the battle against the evil demons. If the Heavenly Palace wants to win, they still need the good fortune of the land of creation. The demon genius thought to himself. However, at the next moment, his eyes widened in shock as he stared at the huge pit that Lu Ming had created. Because at that moment, a powerful qi had suddenly emerged from the crater. As soon as that qi appeared, it started rising rapidly. Very quickly, it reached the top of the fourth godly emperor layer. Then, boom! An even more terrifying qi emerged. It broke through the limit of the fourth godly emperor layer and reached the fifth godly emperor layer. He had broken through. At this moment, these 3 words automatically popped up in everyone's minds. Lu Ming had actually broken through. Just now, everyone still thought that Lu Ming was killed by Bunan's ultimate move and had already thoroughly perished. They did not expect that not only did Lu Ming not perish, he broke through instead. What was going on? He was severely injured, but not only was he fine, he even managed to make a breakthrough in his cultivation. What kind of monster was this? Many people felt as if their brains had been blown away. Brennan's eyes were red. They were blood red. That was the result of his anger. The murderous intent on his body became even more intense, and his face was completely distorted. Could it be that not only did his strongest move fail to kill Lu Ming, it had instead become Lu Ming's assistance and helped him break through? Unbearable. Unbearable. Brennan felt that he was about to be ignited by anger and jealousy. You want to break through? Impossible. Die. Die. You bastard. Die. Bunan roared crazily like a mad beast. Swish. He attacked with all his might, his palms slashing towards the huge pit. Immediately, the angel sword in the hand of the phantom of the Angel King also slashed down towards the huge pit. This sword strike was made by Bunan in a fit of rage, and its power was extremely powerful. He wanted to kill Lu Ming completely before Lu Ming had completely broken through. At this moment, he no longer cared about the great battle with the demons. At this moment, there was only one goal in his heart, and that was to kill Lu Ming. If he didn't kill Lu Ming, this matter would become his inner demon, forever following him and obstructing his future cultivation. Bunan, stop. Ling Yue roared and shot out an arrow with all her might. An arrow pierced through the air at an astonishing speed and hit the angel sword of the phantom of the Angel King. With a boom, Ling Yue's arrow exploded. However, the phantom of the Angel King's divine sword continued to slash down. There was still a huge gap between Ling Yue's battle strength and Bunan's. Although she had offset the power of the divine sword, she couldn't completely block the attack of the divine sword. The gigantic angelic divine sword continued to slash at the huge pit where Lu Ming was. With a loud bang, it slashed at the huge pit. A huge crack appeared on the ground, and the crack spread rapidly into the distance. But at that moment, a dazzling fist energy soared into the sky from the huge pit and hit the angel sword. With an earth-shattering explosion, the fist energy and the angel sword both dissipated. A moment later, a figure rose from the huge pit and stood in the air. His entire body was enveloped by a dazzling multicolored light. He looked extraordinary. The person in the multicolored light was naturally Lu Ming. In the battle with Bu Nan, Lu Ming had finally stimulated his potential and broken through the bottleneck in one fell swoop. His cultivation had reached the 5th layer of the Godly Emperor layer, and his battle strength had greatly increased. I didn't have enough fun just now. Now I'll fight with you again. Lu Ming stepped out. With every step he took, there was a roaring sound in the void. After a few steps, he was already close to Bu Nan. Boom! A fist blasted towards Bu Nan. The violent fist energy pierced through the void and crushed towards Bu Nan. Its power was extremely strong. The might of this punch made Bu Nan's entire body tense up, giving him a strong sense of crisis. Slash! Shouted Bu Nan. The phantom of the Angel King's divine sword slashed towards Lu Ming. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion spread in the air. This time Lu Ming didn't move at all. However, the angel sword was shaking violently. It seemed like its light had dimmed. Bu Nan's body shook violently. He couldn't help but take a few steps back. How is that possible? Shouted Bu Nan in disbelief. That's all you've got. I'll suppress you. Shouted Lu Ming as he punched with both fists. His fists contained the power of various secret arts, including the power of the Great God Wind Art and the Great Shattering Art. Bu Nan roared. He controlled the phantom of the Angel King to fight against Lu Ming with all his strength. Boom! 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 Rumbling sounds echoed in the air. In an instant there were 10 rumbling sounds. Finally there was a loud bang. The angel sword in the phantom of the Angel King exploded. Lu Ming rushed over and attacked with all his might. He pierced through the head of the Angel King. Then the phantom of the Angel King exploded. When the phantom of the Angel King exploded, Bu Nan suffered a backlash. He screamed and coughed up blood. His body was sent flying. Swish! Lu Ming followed up and punched Bu Nan's face. Bu Nan screamed in pain. His body fell heavily on the ground, creating a huge pit that was bigger than the one Lu Ming had created. Bu Nan was lying in the huge pit, vomiting blood. His body was twitching and his face was swollen like a pig's head. Lu Ming stepped out and was about to fall into the huge pit. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Mu Yun, stop. How dare you? The other angels shouted. However, when they saw Lu Ming's cold gaze, they trembled in fear. They didn't dare to step forward. Chapter 4093. Mu Yun, please be merciful. At this time, Dong Yuanqing shouted. That's right, we still have to fight with the demons in the future. Bu Nan is an important battle force, please spare his life. The demon genius from the demon clan also tried to persuade him. Their eyes were also filled with shock. Today's scene was truly out of their expectations. Now they finally understood why Lu Ming suddenly attacked Bu Nan. It was probably because Lu Ming himself felt that he was about to break through, so he attacked Lu Ming's opponent and used Bu Nan's pressure to help him break through. Many peerless monsters had such an experience. For example, they had done such a thing before. However, that was when their cultivation was still relatively low. Ever since they stepped into the Divine Lord realm, it was very difficult. The higher the cultivation, the harder it was to break through. Not to mention the Divine Emperor realm. And Lu Ming, at the Divine Emperor realm, was actually able to borrow the pressure of the other party to break through. It was truly shocking. Once he broke through, he completely reversed the situation and suppressed Bu Nan, revealing a terrifying battle strength. This kind of battle strength had already surpassed theirs. Therefore, they had no choice but to be cautious with their tone towards Lu Ming. It's fine if you want me to let him go. Beg for mercy and apologize. Lu Ming looked coldly at Bu Nan below. The first time he met Bu Nan, the other party wanted to make a move on him and even wanted him to kneel down and apologize to Gabbard. He wanted to use the Dream Jade to record it. If not for Lu Ming's strength being strong enough and Ling Yue's help, and Bu Nan himself being worried that the battle would attract demons, things would not have ended so easily. Lu Ming was not such an easy person to talk to. If there was a chance, he would naturally take revenge. You want me to apologize? Impossible. Bu Nan roared, his face incomparably ferocious. Who was he? He was a peerless genius of the Angel Clan, a 12-winged angel, a candidate for the Universe Genius list. In the Angel Clan, his talent was not inferior to Gabbard's. If it weren't for the fact that he was younger than Gabbert and had a huge gap in cultivation, his status wouldn't be any lower than Gabbert's. With his status, being defeated by Lu Ming was already a great humiliation. Now he had to apologize to Lu Ming. How was that possible? What did he do wrong? Impossible? Alright, since you have the guts and aren't afraid of death, I'll fulfill your wish. Lu Ming coldly spoke. He clenched his fist in the air as a devil sword materialized. His killing intent was as cold as ice. How dare you, Mu Yun? I am a 12-winged angel of the angel race. I am the pillar of the angel race. If you dare to kill me, you are courting death. The angel race will never let you off. Bunan roared. He was certain that Lu Ming would not dare to kill him. The other angels were still fine, but 12-winged angels were not to be underestimated. They were extremely rare, and every single one of them would be extraordinary when they grew up. A 12-winged angel had the chance to break through to the Almighty Realm. Once they broke through to the Almighty Realm, they would be the top experts in the universe. They were extremely important to a large race. Many of the powerful races on the primitive 10,000 races list didn't have any Almighty Realm existences. Once a race produced an Almighty Realm existence, the race's status in the primitive universe would skyrocket. The weight of their words in the heavenly palace would also increase. Being able to obtain a huge amount of resources for the race was crucial to the development of the race. This showed the importance of an Almighty Realm expert. At the same time, it also showed the importance of someone who had the chance to break through to the Almighty Realm. The angel race would definitely seek revenge if such an important person was killed by Lu Ming. Therefore, Bunan had nothing to fear. In fact, many people present also thought so. They thought that Lu Ming wouldn't dare to kill Bunan. We'll talk about the future later. If you don't apologize now, I'll feel uncomfortable. This is more important. Lu Ming's face revealed a sinister expression. He smiled sinisterly and pounced on Bunan like a bolt of lightning. The devil's sword in his hand whistled as it slashed out. Splat! Blood splattered 30 feet away. When Lu Ming charged out of the crater again, he had a head in his hand. It was Bunan's head. No. No, no. This time Bunan really screamed in terror. Bunan wasn't dead yet. A person like him wouldn't die after his head was cut off. He was only heavily injured. No. Didn't you say that I wouldn't dare to kill you? Lu Ming's voice grew colder. He held Bunan's head in his hand. If he exerted a little force, Bunan's head would explode. The soul residing inside would also be annihilated instantly. Bunan was almost scared to death. From Lu Ming's voice and Lu Ming's expression, he could feel that Lu Ming really dared to kill him. This was a crazy person. He was capable of doing anything. He had a feeling that if he continued to be stubborn, Lu Ming wouldn't hesitate to shatter his head. Around them, the others also looked at each other. They saw the horror in each other's eyes. They didn't expect Lu Ming to be so bold. He even dared to kill a 12-winged angel of the angel race. Many people's fear of Lu Ming deepened. Okay, I apologize. I admit my mistake. Bunan roared. In the end, he chose to submit. What did you do wrong? Lu Ming said lightly. I shouldn't have interfered in the matter between you and Gabbert. I shouldn't have been so arrogant. If I meet you in the future, I'll take the initiative to avoid you. Bunan roared. In order to survive, he was ready to risk everything. I'll spare your life this time. Lu Ming snorted. With a wave of his hand, Bunan's head flew out. It flew to his body and connected with his neck. It quickly stuck together. Huff! Bunan gasped for breath. His face was pale and his eyes were filled with fear. The reason why Lu Ming didn't kill Bunan wasn't because he didn't dare. He was indeed a little afraid of the angel race, but not to the extent that he didn't dare. The main reason was that the battle with the demons wasn't over yet. He still needed Bunan. Bunan, Dong Yuanqing, and Dong Yuanqing had practiced their joint attack for many days. It was a great help at a critical moment. Because even though Lu Ming's cultivation had broken through to the 5th godly emperor realm, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to defeat Eugene alone. He needed the help of others. Taking this into account, Lu Ming spared Bunan's life. Everyone, the demons have already set off for a long time. There's no time to lose. We should set off now. If we're late, the demons will take away both maps. Then we won't be able to reverse the situation. Lu Ming said. His voice spread throughout the entire area. That's right. It's time to set off. Now that Brother Mu's cultivation has broken through and his fighting strength has increased greatly, it's the luck of the heavenly palace. Dong Yuanqing said. When they heard Dong Yuanqing, many people's faces were filled with joy. Indeed, Lu Ming's fighting strength had increased greatly. He could even defeat Bunan. It could be said that he was the strongest cultivator in the heavenly palace. It was a good thing for everyone. Chapter 4094. Soon everyone made a final decision. They would set off immediately to fight for the map with the demons in front of the black and white light pillars. At the very least, they had to get the map of the heavenly palace. Only then would they have a chance of winning. After making up their minds, they did not hesitate and set off immediately. They left the area and rushed toward the black and white light pillars. Bu Nan was also recovering from his injuries with the help of the other two prodigies of the angel race. Although his injuries were quite serious, Lu Ming knew how to control his strength. They were all superficial wounds and did not hurt his core. Therefore he recovered quickly. It would not be long before he recovered to his peak. They were very fast. The black and white light pillars were getting clearer and clearer. The sky was covered by the black and white light. Even on the other side of the planet they would be able to see it. It was conceivable that it would not be long before all the prodigies and demons of the heavenly palace who were participating in the battle arrived here. They were not far away from the black and white light pillars. Soon they were close. Along the way they did not encounter a single demon. That is, suddenly everyone was shocked. They could not help but widen their eyes and look ahead. In front of them, there was a huge mountain that stood between heaven and earth. The mountain was extremely majestic. It pierced through the clouds and occupied a very large area. At the top of the mountain, two black and white light pillars were entangled and shot into the sky. What surprised them was that this mountain did not exist before. Otherwise it would have been found long ago. This mountain must have been hidden before. It would only appear when the two sides were almost done killing each other. Kill. Rumble. Violent roars and battle cries could be heard from the mountain peak. They looked from afar and saw a large number of demons rushing toward the top of the mountain. However, they were blocked. On the mountain peak there were many monsters condensed from rocks. They were constantly attacking the demons. The battle above was very fierce. Seeing this, everyone in the heavenly palace heaved a sigh of relief. This meant that the demons had not gotten the map yet. It seemed that it would not be easy to get the map. This mountain peak was blocked by monsters condensed from rocks. If they wanted to rush to the top of the mountain and get the map, they would have to defeat these rock monsters. What should we do? Someone asked. Many people couldn't help but look at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's current combat strength was already the strongest in the heavenly palace. Unknowingly, his position in the hearts of the people had risen a lot. If they had any opinions, the first thing they thought of was Lu Ming. They wanted to know Lu Ming's opinion. We're not in a hurry now. It won't be that easy for the demons to rush to the top of the mountain. Now, the people from the other half of this temporary planet are probably also rushing here. Let's hide and wait here. When the other people from the heavenly palace arrive, we'll stop them and meet up with them. When the last demon is about to reach the top of the mountain, we'll attack and take the map in one fell swoop. Lu Ming voiced his thoughts. Good idea. Everyone nodded in agreement. Indeed, given the current situation, this was the best solution. They could meet up with the others from the heavenly palace to increase their strength. And when the demons rushed to the top of the mountain and fought with the rock monsters, their strength would be weakened. Although as time passed, other demons would come and meet up with Eugene and the others, which would increase the demon's strength. Overall, for the heavenly palace, the advantages outweighed the disadvantages. I'll set up a concealment formation, Dong Yuanqing said. Then he began to move. His figure flickered on the ground. With every move he made, densely packed runes would spread out and enter the ground, disappearing without a trace. Of course, Dong Yuanqing couldn't emit runes from every pore on his body like Dandan. But his attainment in rune formations was amazing. Among the younger generation, Lu Ming was second only to Dandan in terms of rune formations. Not long after, an illusory formation was successfully set up. As long as they were in the illusory formation, the demons wouldn't be able to find them. Then they sent people out to ambush nearby. As long as they saw the people from the heavenly palace coming, they would stop them and bring them here. After everything was set up, they waited quietly. Lu Ming and the others continued to look at the mountain from afar. The demons and the rock monsters on the mountain were still fighting fiercely. It was obvious that Eugene was at the forefront of the demons. The demonic blade in his hand was extremely powerful. Following closely behind Eugene were a few demons who weren't weaker than Dong Yuanqing and Bunan. Luo Shi was among them. However, the rock monsters on the mountain were also very strong. They seemed to have been refined by a master. Their bodies were as hard as divine weapons. Even the strongest Eugene had to slash a rock monster several times to cut it open. So, it wouldn't be easy for the demons to reach the mountain and get the map. This made Lu Ming and the others feel more at ease. They had enough time to wait. Time passed quickly. After a while, Lu Ming and the others finally saw the first batch of reinforcements. A top demon from the Battle Saint tribe, who was also a 6th-level godly emperor, had arrived. He could fight opponents 4 levels higher than him. He was also a candidate for the Universe Prodigy list. There were more than 10 people with him. They came from the other side of the planet. When this person came, he immediately greeted Battle God Yuanwen. Although this person was talented, he was still lacking compared to Battle God Yuanwen. His status in the Battle Saint tribe wasn't as high as Battle God Yuanwen's. "How's the situation in your area?" Battle God Yuanwen asked. The other party explained. Previously, Eugene had led a group of demons and wiped out half of the planet. There was still half of the planet left. The demons on that half of the planet and the geniuses from the Heavenly Palace were in a chaotic battle. There weren't any strong demons that broke the balance. Both sides had suffered losses and victories. It wasn't a one-sided battle. Then they saw the black and white light pillars covering the sky. They knew that the map of the Land of Fortune had appeared, so they hurried over. Then Battle God Yuanwen explained the situation here. The other party's expression was very serious. Obviously, he didn't expect that there would be a strong demon like Eugene. Later, as time passed, more and more experts from the Heavenly Palace came to gather. 2 days later, there were already more than 800 people who came to gather. Among them, there were 3 more geniuses who weren't weaker than Bunan and Dong Yuanqing. These 3 were the 3 strongest people on the other half of the planet. Chapter 4095. The Heavenly Palace had 3 more top-notch geniuses and nearly 800 people. Their combat strength had increased tremendously. However, the evil demons had also gained many experts. Their numbers had doubled. Among them, there was no lack of evil demons at Luo Shi's level. With the addition of a large number of evil demons, their speed was even faster. After 2 days, they were about to reach the peak of the mountain. Obviously, the map of the land of creation was at the peak of the mountain. "We can set off now." Lu Ming was the first to speak. This caused some people to be dissatisfied. These people were naturally those who had joined later, especially the few top-notch geniuses. Who was Lu Ming to be the first to speak as if he was giving orders? This made them very unhappy. What right did Lu Ming have? However, to their surprise, Dong Yuanqing and the others did not seem to have any objections. They all nodded in unison. They were quite puzzled. Dong Yuanqing and the others seemed to be listening to Lu Ming's opinion. Was there a mistake? However, this was not the time to argue. They suppressed the doubts in their hearts and prepared to set off. "Let's go!" Lu Ming shouted in a low voice and took the lead to rush out. The others followed closely behind. They turned into streaks of rainbow light and flew toward the majestic mountain peak. With so many people moving together, the momentum was very shocking. They were immediately discovered by the evil demons. Clang, clang. On the mountain peak, Eugene slashed a rock monster in half with 2 consecutive slashes. He looked coldly at Lu Ming and the others. These people from the Heavenly Palace still dare to fight for the map. They are courting death. You guys take some people to stop the people from the Heavenly Palace. I will kill them after I get the map. Eugene said coldly. Don't worry. You don't have to do anything. These people from the Heavenly Palace are dead meat. Luo Shi smiled ferociously. His fierce eyes were already fixed on Lu Ming. This was the second time. Lu Ming had managed to escape twice. As someone whose combat strength was lower than his, this was the first time that he had escaped from his hands twice in a row. His desire to kill Lu Ming was extremely strong. Not more than 3 times. He swore that there would not be a third time. This time he was going to twist Lu Ming's head off. About half of the evil demons turned and rushed down the mountain toward the people from the Heavenly Palace. Among them there were 7 top-notch geniuses like Luo Shi. As for Eugene, he continued to kill the rock monsters and climbed up the mountain peak. Kill. Kill these scum from the Heavenly Palace. Calm. In the next moment, the 2 sides clashed. Lu Ming. On the other side, Luo Shi stared at Lu Ming all the time. At this moment, he stretched out his claws and crushed the heads of 2 Heavenly Palace geniuses, 1 in each hand. The other geniuses from the Heavenly Palace did not dare to get close to Luo Shi at all. They kept a distance from him. Die, brat. Luo Shi roared ferociously. A pair of huge evil demon wings flapped. With a terrifying gust of wind and a whistling sound, he rushed toward Lu Ming. You're the one who's going to die. Lu Ming also rushed toward Luo Shi and threw out a punch. Watch me break your arm. Luo Shi roared. His evil demon claws grabbed at Lu Ming's arm. Boom. Lu Ming's fist collided with Luo Shi's evil demon claws. Crack. At the moment of collision, Luo Shi's evil demon claws shook violently. His fingers made the sound of bones breaking. His arm shook violently. Not only did Luo Shi's arm shake violently, but his body also shook violently and retreated violently. You! His ferocious face was full of astonishment and disbelief. He seemed to find it hard to believe that Lu Ming's strength had suddenly become so strong. It had only been a few days. How could Lu Ming's combat strength suddenly soar and even surpass his? In a battle between masters, the slightest difference could make a difference of 1,000 miles. A slight difference could determine life and death. Luo Shi had never expected that Lu Ming's combat strength would be so strong that it surpassed his. Therefore he was stunned for a moment. This moment was enough to determine his life and death. Kill! Lu Ming shouted. His fists bombarded the void continuously, turning it into a hornet's nest. With Luo Shi's combat strength, if he resisted with all his strength he might be able to resist for a while. But now that he was stunned, his result was doomed. Bang! Off! Flesh and blood splattered. Luo Shi's burly body was directly penetrated by Lu Ming's fist force and was smashed into pieces. His head was also turned into minced meat under Lu Ming's fist force. A top genius of the evil demon was killed directly. The surrounding evil demons were stupefied. That scene was completely beyond their expectations. They hadn't thought that a strong evil demon who was second only to Eugene would be killed so easily. Boom. After killing Luo Shi, Lu Ming didn't stop. He used his full strength. His entire body was covered in dazzling lights. He looked like a planet as he dashed towards a group of evil demons. Bang! 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 Those evil demons couldn't withstand a single blow from Lu Ming. Lu Ming dashed forward and those evil demons exploded like balloons. Flesh and blood splattered everywhere. Lu Ming grabbed the drops of evil demon spirit blood and put them away. Lu Ming dashed forward, leaving behind a trail of blood and flesh. At least dozens of demon prodigies died in his hands. Then Lu Ming dashed to the front of another top demon prodigy. That evil demon was also a cultivator of the 6th godly emperor layer. He could fight cultivators who were 4 cultivation levels higher than him. He wasn't any weaker than Luo Shi. Evil demon roar! Shouted that evil demon. A terrifying destructive strength emerged from his mouth and moved towards Lu Ming. Boom! Lu Ming struck with all his might. His fist penetrated the destructive force. His body dashed forward and the fist force blasted toward the person like a meteor. Die! Shouted that evil demon furiously. He used his full strength to resist. However, even if he used his full strength, he couldn't compete with Lu Ming. Lu Ming, who had reached the 5th level of the God Emperor realm, was already half a level higher than Luo Shi or the demon in front of him. It was like when Lu Ming had broken through to the 4th godly emperor layer and fought against Sa Dao. In terms of fighting strength he was much stronger than Luo Shi. Even though the evil demon could resist for a while, he couldn't compete with Luo Shi. After a dozen attacks, the evil demon gave horrible shrieks and was blown away. His chest had been pierced by Lu Ming's punches. He was severely injured. Die! Lu Ming did not give the other party a chance to catch his breath at all. He stepped into the void and chased after him. More than 10 demon swords slashed toward his head and face. At the same time, the destructive fist force formed by the great divine wind skill and the great shattering skill bombarded him. That evil demon shouted furiously and tried to fight back, but it was useless. The next moment his body was torn into pieces and Lu Ming grabbed the evil demon's spirit blood. Yet another top demon genius was slain. Chapter 4096. Lu Ming killed 2 top-notch demons in a row. He did it in an instant. His speed was too fast. At that moment Eugene finally came back to his senses. He pulled a long face. "You want to die?" shouted Eugene furiously. He gave up on attacking the top of the mountain and turned around to attack Lu Ming. However, there was still some distance between him and Lu Ming. Lu Ming didn't stop. He continued attacking other demons. This time, Lu Ming didn't attack the strongest demons because they could resist Lu Ming for a while. If they saw Lu Ming coming they would try to escape. It would be very difficult to kill them before Eugene arrived. Therefore, Lu Ming charged toward the demons who had weaker combat abilities but were extremely talented. For example, Sa Dao was one of them. They had the strength of the 5th godly emperor layer or lower, but they could fight cultivators 4 levels higher than them. Their cultivation level was a bit lower, but their potential wasn't any worse than Luo Shi's. Their blood was also very valuable. Even though there weren't many demons like that, there were still a few of them. Lu Ming threw himself at a demon with snow-white wings and threw a punch. When that demon saw Lu Ming coming he was startled. He hastily retreated, but how could he be as fast as Lu Ming? The surging fist force surged towards the demon like raging waves, forming a crushing force. Facing that fist strength, it was like an ordinary person facing a tsunami. He couldn't escape. Either he would be swept away by the fist strength, or he would be destroyed by it. The devil chosen howled in rage. Flapping his devil wings, he brought forth a berserk energy that was bone-piercing cold, as though it wanted to freeze everything in its path. Actually, the space around him was frozen. He wanted to block Lu Ming's fist strength. Unfortunately, the difference between their fighting strength was too great. It was all in vain. Lin Feng's fist strength crushed everything, and the frozen space broke like a crystal. Then the fist strength bombarded the demon's body. With a bang, the demon exploded. A drop of demon blood flew out and Lu Ming caught it in his hand. He had obtained another drop of demon blood. He could fight cultivators 4 levels higher than him. He was like a genius of the universe. Such people had unlimited potential. They had the opportunity to break through to the Demon King lair. They could exchange it for an incredible amount of merit points. Lu Ming had already obtained 5 drops of demon blood of that level. In the past, Samo Luo's demon blood was worth 60,000 merit points. That kind of demon blood, which could fight cultivators 4 levels higher than him, was worth at least twice as much. Die! Roared furiously. At this moment, his eyes were blood-red and filled with intense murderous intent. The demonic saber in his hand slashed violently toward Lu Ming. The scorching aura even burned the space. The saber gleam cut through the air and slashed at Lu Ming's head. Demon sword! Lu Ming shouted. He used the great demon sword technique. With a wave of his hand, a huge demon sword formed and pressed down on Eugene's blade. At the same time, Lu Ming's body exploded with dazzling light. Lu Ming had used all his strength and punched out. A demon sword and a fist strength. One in front and one behind, they collided with Eugene's blade. The demon sword bore the brunt of the impact. It clashed with Eugene's blade. The demon sword shook violently. It lasted for 2 breaths of time before shattering. Then the blade and the fist strength collided. An even more intense explosion rang out as the terrifying force shattered the void. Even existences at the level of Dong Yuanqing and Bu Nan turned grim in the face of such a shockwave. But in the end, Lu Ming's fist strength couldn't block Eugene's blade and was split apart. At the moment of collision, Lu Ming's figure retreated rapidly. Although he was hit by the remaining blade light, Lu Ming wasn't injured. He just retreated far away with the help of the force. Sure enough, Eugene's battle strength is still higher than mine. A thought flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Eugene's combat power was extremely terrifying. Every inch of his muscles was filled with terrifying power, especially his demonic saber. Its power was even more terrifying. At the Divine Emperor realm, he could fight someone who was 5 levels higher than him. He was almost on par with Lu Ming. Eugene's battle strength was no weaker than the fighting god Yuanwen's. His cultivation was 1 level higher than Lu Ming's. Naturally, Lu Ming was no match for him. However, Lu Ming didn't intend to fight Eugene head-on. He retreated and changed direction. He rushed to the top of the mountain. You want to leave? Eugene roared and chased after Lu Ming. He remembered that Lu Ming had fought with Luo Shi last time. At that time he was no match for Luo Shi. But in just a few days, Lu Ming could easily kill Luo Shi and even contend with him. This kind of person was too terrifying. Today he must get rid of Lu Ming. However, he couldn't catch up with Lu Ming in a short time, because this mountain was full of rock monsters. Although many of them had been killed by the devil, there were still many left, especially at the top of the mountain, where there were even more rock monsters. Lu Ming's figure flickered a few times and arrived at the mountainside. At this time, several rock monsters roared and rushed towards Lu Ming. These rock monsters were similar in structure to the rocks under his feet. But they had been condensed by the Lord's great divine ability. They became very solid and dense. At the same time, they were extremely hard, even harder than a divine weapon. Moreover, they had different appearances. Some looked like desolate beasts, some looked like humans, and some even looked like devils. Suddenly, 3 rock monsters charged towards Lu Ming and attacked Lu Ming's 3 vital points. Lu Ming used the Great Divine Wind technique. His body was always shrouded by a layer of divine wind. He didn't fight these rock monsters head-on. His figure flashed and seemed to produce phantoms. With a few flashes, he perfectly dodged the attacks of the 3 rock monsters. He appeared behind the 3 rock monsters and continued to rush towards the top of the mountain. The higher he went, the more rock monsters there were. However, Lu Ming relied on the great godly wind skill to evade the attacks of these rock monsters one by one. For those that he could not evade, Lu Ming waved his fist to block them. Very soon he had left dozens of rock monsters behind him. He kept approaching the peak of the mountain. As for Eugene's movement technique, he wasn't as fast as Lu Ming. He relied on the devil's saber in his hand. "Get lost!" Eugene roared. He kept slashing with his devil saber, flaying the rock monsters one by one. Swish, swish, swish. One rock monster after another flew out like a rubber ball. Some even flew towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming had to focus on dodging. As a result, his speed was slower. Eugene attacked crazily. With this move, the distance between him and Lu Ming was slowly closing. Chapter 4097. Eugene used his violent combat power to send the rock monsters flying as he chased after Lu Ming. The distance between them was closing. However, when Lu Ming saw that the distance between them was closing, he immediately changed his direction and moved horizontally, increasing the distance between them again. Eugene chased after Lu Ming several times but was unable to catch up with him. He was furious, but he was not an ordinary person after all, so he quickly calmed down. Then I'll let this kid live for a while longer. As long as I get the 2 maps and obtain the creation left behind by the Demon Lord, then the Heavenly Palace will definitely lose. Even if I'm the only one left, I can still kill everyone from the Heavenly Palace. Thinking of this, a cold light flashed in Eugene's eyes. He stopped chasing after Lu Ming and continued to rush to the top of the mountain. To be honest, he did not care about the lives of the other demon prodigies. Even if they were all dead, he did not care. As long as he got the 2 maps, the people from the Heavenly Palace would not be able to obtain the creation. Once he obtained the creation, his combat power would be even more invincible. In that case, no matter what the Heavenly Palace did, they would not be able to stop him. He would hunt down the people from the Heavenly Palace all over the world. Sooner or later, he would kill everyone from the Heavenly Palace and obtain this victory. Therefore, the 2 maps were the key. He gave up on Lu Ming and rushed to the maps. Lu Ming's expression changed. Of course, he knew that the 2 maps were the key. If Eugene got the 2 maps, it would be useless even if he killed all the other demons. Therefore, Lu Ming also rushed to the top of the mountain from another direction. Eugene relied on his powerful strength to rush forward at an extremely fast speed. Lu Ming, on the other hand, was faster. Coupled with his combat power, he was not slower than Eugene in terms of speed. The 2 of them approached the top of the mountain from 2 different directions. At the bottom of the mountain, the demons and the Heavenly Palace were fighting fiercely. The battle was getting more and more intense. Originally, the demons had the upper hand in terms of both quantity and quality. Not to mention other things, the Heavenly Palace had fewer top-level combatants. However, after Lu Ming killed 2 of their top-level combatants, the Heavenly Palace had the upper hand in terms of top-level combatants. They had 1 more person than the demons. In this way, although the Heavenly Palace had fewer people, they were not at a disadvantage after a round of fighting. Instead, they had a slight advantage. During the battle, the demons and Heavenly Palace's prodigies were attracted to Eugene and Lu Ming. That guy wants to compete with Eugene for the token. He's courting death. Eugene will definitely be able to get both maps. The Heavenly Palace is doomed. Many demons. On the other hand, the people from the Heavenly Palace were secretly praying that Lu Ming would be able to snatch the map. At the very least, they had to snatch the map from the Heavenly Palace. Only then would they have hope. While they were fighting, they were also paying attention to the 2 figures who were rushing to the top of the mountain because these 2 people would affect the whole battle. Eugene and Lu Ming kept rushing to the top of the mountain. The closer they got to the top of the mountain, the more rock monsters there were. They were rushing towards them in groups. Swoosh, swoosh. Lu Ming pushed the great godly wind to the extreme. His body was like a ghost, like a breeze, as if he was weightless. He kept flashing and dodging the rock monsters. However, there were too many rock monsters and they were not afraid of death. There were bound to be some who could not be dodged. A rock monster, like a demon, waved its stone fist and attacked Lu Ming. Lu Ming threw out a punch and collided with the rock monster's fist. With a bang, the rock monster's body was sent flying, knocking down several rock monsters behind it. It's really hard, Lu Ming muttered to himself. With his current cultivation level, the power of his punch was astonishing. Even an ordinary cultivator of the 9th godly emperor layer would be smashed to pieces. But the rock monster was only sent flying. A few cracks appeared on its fist, but it did not explode. But that was enough. Lu Ming's silhouette flickered. He jumped over the rock monsters and continued moving forward. Just like that, Lu Ming used his incredible fighting strength and agility to reach the top of the mountain. But because there were too many rock monsters, it was not easy to reach the top of the mountain in a short time. Otherwise, the evil demon army would have been able to reach the top of the mountain in 2 days. After 2 hours, Lu Ming finally reached the top of the mountain. At this point, Lu Ming could already see the scenery at the top of the mountain clearly. There was nothing at the top of the mountain, there were only 2 round beads. The 2 round beads were the size of a fist. One was as black as ink, the other was as white as snow. The 2 round beads were next to each other and were emitting a resplendent light. The 2 intertwined beams of light, one black and one white, were emitted from the 2 beads. Those were the maps of the 2 places of good fortune. The black bead was the map of the evil demon army's place of good fortune. The white bead was the map of the heavenly palace's place of good fortune. Lu Ming's eyes were burning with passion, but then Lu Ming's expression suddenly changed. This was because he saw Eugene. Eugene was actually faster than him by a bit. "Piss off!" shouted Eugene. His blade dashed to the sky and a few terrifying blade shadows appeared. The last few rock monsters were sent flying. One of them was even cut in half. Swish! Without the rock monsters blocking him, Eugene flew towards the 2 round beads. "Oh no!" Lu Ming roared in his heart. He attacked with all his strength. Boom! 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 He threw a dozen punches at 7 or 8 rock monsters, causing them to stagger back. Lu Ming sped up at full speed. In a flash, he dashed past 7 to 8 rock monsters. However, his speed was still slower than Eugene's. Eugene's figure was already close to the 2 round beads. His eyes were shining with greed. "Both maps are mine. Victory will be mine in the end." Eugene roared in his heart. He stretched out a claw and grabbed at the 2 round beads. Just as he was about to grab the 2 round beads, the 2 round beads vibrated slightly. The black and white beams of light that were emitted also converged. An invisible force burst out of the 2 round beads as if to resist Eugene's claws. For a moment, Eugene's claws were blocked. Eugene's expression changed and he roared, "Break!" He used all of his strength to grab the demon claw. Buzz! The 2 round beads vibrated violently. The force seemed to be scattered. Following that, the 2 round beads actually flew out in 2 different directions with a swoosh. "Damn it!" Eugene roared. He flapped his demon wings and rushed towards the black round beads. Chapter 4098. Eugene was the first to rush towards the black bead. Before he even reached it, he had already clawed at the air. A huge demonic claw was formed and sealed off a part of the void, enveloping the black bead within. This time the black bead could not escape. It was caught in Eugene's hand. At this moment, Lu Ming's eyes shone with excitement. He blasted away the last rock monster and rushed towards the white bead. The white bead was the map of the heavenly palace. Since Eugene had already obtained the black bead, he had to get the white bead. "You're courting death." Eugene's eyes flashed. He suddenly turned around and slashed at Lu Ming with his demonic saber. "I can't avoid it." Lu Ming had a resolute look on his face. He could avoid this saber radiance, but he could not. If he did, he would lose the initiative and the white bead would definitely be taken away by Eugene. "Block it." Lu Ming let out a low growl. Every cell in his body was trembling. He unleashed all his strength in an instant. Boom! A fist energy pierced through the void and met Eugene's saber radiance. The 2 collided for the second time. This time, Eugene hurriedly slashed with his saber and did not use his full strength. The 2 attacks collided in the void and were annihilated. However, Eugene's saber radiance was still stronger. A wisp of residual saber energy slashed Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body was pushed back several steps. A wound appeared on his body, almost splitting Lu Ming's body apart. However, Lu Ming was able to withstand it. Ignoring his injury, Lu Ming continued to rush towards the white bead. "Don't even think about it." Eugene roared and rushed towards the white bead with all his strength. He was very fast. Great binding technique. At this moment, Lu Ming shouted softly and used one of the 3,000 ancient mystic skills, the Great Binding Skill. An invisible force wrapped around Eugene like a python. The needle-like force pierced into Eugene's body, trying to lock him up. Eugene's body stiffened for a moment. That moment of rigidity was enough. Lu Ming grabbed it with all his might. One of his palms expanded rapidly, enveloping the white round bead and grabbing it. "You're courting death." Eugene roared angrily. His whole body was like an erupting volcano. Demonic chi rushed out of every pore on his body. The power of the Great Binding Technique was quickly disintegrating. Sure enough, it can only trap him for a moment. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. He had wanted to kill Eugene, but it was obviously impossible. Although the other party was bound for an instant, every inch of the other party's body was filled with powerful energy. Even if he did not take the white bead and directly attack the other party, it would be difficult to kill the other party. Therefore Lu Ming did not hesitate. He turned around and ran down the mountain. Boom. Eugene finally broke free from the shackles of the great binding skill and charged toward Lu Ming. The two rushed down the mountain, one in front and one behind. I've got the map. Retreat. Lu Ming let out a long howl and his voice spread far and wide. The people from the heavenly palace were overjoyed. They did not have much hope. After all, Lu Ming was not as strong as Eugene. It would be difficult to get the map in front of Eugene. They did not expect Lu Ming to get the map. Let's go. Retreat. Some of the top fighters from the heavenly palace shouted. Then they all retreated. The demons naturally did not want to let the people from the heavenly palace go. However, the heavenly palace had the upper hand in terms of the number of top fighters. Therefore they retreated smoothly. All the geniuses from the heavenly palace gathered together and blocked the demons' attack with a wave of attacks. Then they flew back. Lu Ming and Eugene, one in front and one behind, quickly arrived at the foot of the mountain. There was a strong pressure on the mountain so they could not fly. However, there was no pressure at the foot of the mountain. Whoosh! Lu Ming rose into the sky and rushed in the direction where the geniuses from the heavenly palace had retreated. Stop him! Eugene shouted. He ordered the demons to stop Lu Ming. Stop that kid! Stop him! The other demons shouted and rushed toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming suddenly changed his direction and rushed to the right. There were fewer demons there. Stay. There was another top demon in the right front. He was not weaker than Luo Shi. He attacked Lu Ming with all his might. He wanted to stop Lu Ming. As long as Eugene arrived, Lu Ming would not be able to escape. You're asking for it? Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He punched out. Lu Ming's punch directly defeated the opponent's attack. Then he used the great binding spell. This top abyssal freak's body suddenly stiffened. His strength was far inferior to Eugene's. The great binding spell could at least trap him for a few breaths of time. To elites like Lu Ming and the rest, a few breaths of time was considered very long. Boom. Lu Ming rushed past. The demon's body exploded. A drop of demon spirit blood was caught in Lu Ming's hand. However, this demon still managed to obstruct Lu Ming for a while. Eugene had already arrived and slashed out a ray of saber gleam. Lu Ming tried his best to dodge, but he could not completely avoid it. The blade light slashed his body. Lu Ming's body was directly split in half. If an ordinary person's body was split in half, even if they did not die, they would be seriously injured. Could even be said that they were dead. This was because the destructive power in the blade light could directly annihilate the soul in the sea of consciousness. However, there was no soul in Lu Ming's sea of consciousness. His soul was scattered to every cell in his body. As long as Lu Ming's cells were not annihilated, he would not die. Therefore, his body that was split in half did not stop at all. It continued to fly forward rapidly. In the process of flying, the two halves of his body automatically approached and stuck together. This monster! Eugene's heart trembled violently. He had a strong fear of Lu Ming. At the same time, his desire to kill Lu Ming was unprecedentedly strong. He flapped his demon wings frantically and chased after Lu Ming. Both of them were very fast. After Lu Ming used the Great God Wind technique, he was extremely agile and fast in a small area. He was even faster than Eugene. However, when flying in a straight line, Eugene's demon wings frantically flapped. He was not slower than Lu Ming. The two of them, one in front and one behind, quickly crossed a long distance. Soon they were about to catch up with the geniuses of the heavenly palace. Quick, go to the west. I've set up a formation there. We'll be there soon. We can escape there. Dong Yuanqing shouted. The geniuses of the heavenly palace quickly flew to the west. At this time they saw Lu Ming and Eugene. Their expressions changed. Chapter 4099. When the sky prides of the heavenly palace saw Eugene and Lu Ming chasing after them, their expressions changed. One of them was fearful of Eugene's strength, and the other was worried about Lu Ming. They were not worried about Lu Ming's life, but the map in Lu Ming's hands. The map could not fall into Eugene's hands as it was their last hope for victory. We must protect the map. Yes, we must not let the map fall into the hands of the devil. Let's help Mu Yun restrain Eugene and find a chance to escape. Dong Yuanqing and the other strongest sky prides transmitted their voices. Bunan's face was gloomy. Although he was extremely unwilling to help Lu Ming, it was related to the victory of the heavenly palace and his own life. Hence, he had to help even if he was unwilling. Swoosh swoosh, a few figures flashed out. They were Dong Yuanqing, Bunan, and the monster from the devil race. The three of them had cultivated a joint attack technique. Working together they could restrain Eugene to a certain extent. Although there were a few geniuses who were not weaker than them, they did not have a joint attack technique. They could not restrain Eugene, so they continued to lead the people of the Heavenly Palace to the array formation in the west. Kill. Dong Yuanqing and the other two shouted and performed the combined attack technique. The three of them formed a mysterious trajectory and flashed. A divine light burst out from the middle of the three of them and attacked Eugene. Eugene slashed out with his saber and destroyed the divine light, but his body was also blocked. You are courting death. When Eugene saw that the people from the Heavenly Palace dared to take the initiative to attack him, his murderous intent soared. He roared and activated his violent devilish chi and slashed out with his saber. This was Eugene's full-strength saber. Its power was extremely terrifying, and it was much stronger than the previous one. Dong Yuanqing and Bu Nan looked grave. In the face of Eugene's strongest attack, they did not dare to face it head-on. They could only passively defend. They performed the combined attack technique and formed an ancient tortoise shell. Eugene's saber light bombarded the tortoise shell and split it in half. However, Eugene's attack was blocked in the end. Boom. Eugene attacked with his blade and there was a brief change in his aura. Lu Ming would not miss such an opportunity. He punched with all his strength and the fist power roared out, crushing towards Eugene. Slash. Eugene roared and slashed at Lu Ming with his saber, splitting apart Lu Ming's fist energy. However, his body shook slightly and he took 2 steps back. You're courting death. Eugene roared furiously. The demonic aura seemed to have materialized. Just as he was about to slash at Lu Ming with all his might, Dong Yuanqing and the other two performed a joint attack. A beam of divine light blasted toward Eugene. This made Eugene furious. Regardless of whether it was Lu Ming or Dong Yuanqing and the other two's combined attack, they were no match for him in a one-on-one battle. However, when the two of them joined forces, they were able to restrain him greatly. This was because he could not ignore the attacks from Lu Ming or Dong Yuanqing's group. If he did, it would cause him great harm. He had to concentrate on dealing with it. In this way, he could not concentrate on dealing with one side. He could only divide his strength and attack Lu Ming and Dong Yuanqing's group at the same time. If his strength was divided, he could not crush either side. Boom. Boom. Lu Ming successfully blocked Eugene's saber light. Although he took several steps back, it was not like before where he would be seriously injured after blocking the attack. In this way, Lu Ming and Dong Yuanqing's group adopted a wandering method. When Eugene attacked, they mainly defended and then took the opportunity to launch a counterattack. For a time they actually managed to pin Eugene down. The others from the Heavenly Palace took the opportunity to distance themselves and disappeared in the west. Soon, Lu Ming and Dong Yuanqing's group had been in a stalemate with Eugene for more than 10 minutes. At this time, Lu Ming and Dong Yuanqing were secretly communicating with each other. They retreated to the west as they fought. Although they could pin down Dong Yuanqing, it was impossible for them to defeat him. Moreover, the longer the battle dragged on, the more disadvantageous it would be for them. This was because the combined attack of Dong Yuanqing and the other two consumed a lot of energy. The longer it dragged on, the weaker it would be. In the end, they would definitely not be a match for Eugene, and their combined attack would be broken. This was also because Lu Ming was holding Eugene back. Otherwise, Dong Yuanqing and the other two would not be able to hold Eugene back for so long. It was already good enough that they could hold him back for more than 10 moves. Damn it, all of you deserve to die. Eugene was extremely furious. The more he fought, the braver he became. His demonic saber slashed out, forcing Lu Ming, Dong Yuanqing, and the others to passively defend and retreat. The muscles all over his body bulged and his body became more and more ferocious. Swish, swish. They were like a few shooting stars flying across the starry sky as they fought. After a while, we're here. The formation I set up is below. We can go there. Dong Yuanqing said. Lu Ming looked down and saw a stone forest below. This stone forest was the formation. Swoosh, swoosh. At this time, 2 more saber lights slashed towards Lu Ming and Dong Yuanqing. Lu Ming waved his fists continuously. A terrifying attack gathered and finally formed a huge fist. It rushed out and collided with Eugene's saber light. With a loud bang, the fist that Lu Ming had condensed exploded. With the help of this force, Lu Ming's body fell toward the bottom of the stone forest. On the other side, Dong Yuanqing and the others had also formed a tortoise shell. Under the saber light, the tortoise shell exploded. They also borrowed the force to fall down the stone forest. In the stone forest, there was a formation within a formation. There was an escape formation hidden within the illusory formation. The people from the Heavenly Palace had obviously left through this formation. As soon as Lu Ming and the others landed, The formation was immediately activated and they successfully left. On the other hand, Eugene was furious. He bombarded the stone forest and destroyed it. However, he had already lost track of Lu Ming and the rest. Damn it! Eugene roared. After a while he gradually calmed down. Now, I have to find the place of creation left by the Devil Lord as soon as possible. I'll get the creation inside and then kill everyone from the Heavenly Palace. Eugene whispered. The murderous intent in his eyes was almost tangible. Then he took out the black ball and injected demonic chi. Buzz. Suddenly the black ball vibrated. The surface of the ball glowed and some patterns appeared on it. These patterns were a map. Eugene's eyes flashed as he memorized these patterns. I've heard that the land of creation will be obstructed by the master-level experts of the Heavenly Palace. It's better to meet up with the others. Although those people are useless, they can still provide some help and save some energy. Eugene whispered a few times and then left to meet up with the other demons. They then followed the map to find the place of creation left by the Devil Lord. Chapter 4100. At this moment, Lu Ming and the rest had arrived at the place where they had been last time. Sure enough, the people from the Heavenly Palace were all here. When they saw Lu Ming and the rest appear, they immediately surrounded them and looked at Lu Ming with burning eyes. How is it? Did you keep the map? The demons didn't come after us, right? The crowd asked one after another. A white bead appeared in Lu Ming's hand. The crowd was silent at first, but then they all cheered. Even Dong Yuanqing and the rest were excited. They had the map. This was the map that led to the land of creation that the Divine Master of the Heavenly Palace had set up. As long as they had this map, they still had hope and a chance to defeat the demons. Otherwise, the demons had Eugene and they would only end up defeated. This time they could not afford to lose because only death would await them if they failed. Let's take a look at the map. Where does it lead to? Someone said impatiently. Lu Ming did not say much. He looked at Dong Yuanqing and said, Brother Dong Yuanqing, here is the map. Take a look. With that, Lu Ming threw the white bead to Dong Yuanqing. Lu Ming was more or less cautious. This white bead was refined by the Divine Master of the Heavenly Palace. If he injected forbidden energy into it, he was afraid that the Divine Master would sense it afterward. Although this was not necessarily possible, he had to be cautious. Dong Yuanqing took the white bead in surprise, as if he was surprised that Lu Ming would give it to him. Please. Lu Ming smiled. Dong Yuanqing nodded and slowly injected his divine energy into the white bead. The white bead vibrated and then patterns appeared on its surface, similar to the black bead that the demons had. The map. Everyone's eyes lit up and focused on it, clearly recording the patterns on it. In a short while they had recorded the map. There's no time to lose. Let's set off immediately. Otherwise, if the demons get their creation first, we'll be in trouble. Dong Yuanqing said. Everyone nodded their heads. Naturally, they had no objections. After the discussion, they left the place. Following the map's instructions, they headed north. The journey was not short, but there were no demons blocking the way. They flew at full speed and were still very fast. After a little more than a day, they arrived at a flat area. This planet was refined by the joint efforts of the lords. Everywhere was filled with protruding rocks. Flat areas were rare. According to the map, the target was here. At this moment, the white bead began to violently tremble. It began to emit a pure white light. Then the white bead flew out of Dong Yuanqing's hand and rapidly grew in size. It sank into the ground and disappeared. Rumble. In the next moment, the ground shook violently. Retreat. Everyone retreated in shock. Kacha. Asterisk crack. Asterisk cracks appeared on the ground like a spider web, densely covering the entire ground. Then the rocks on the ground exploded, and a huge monster emerged from the ground. It turned out that the land of creation was hidden underground. Dust and debris flew everywhere. After a while, when the dust and debris dissipated, everyone finally saw the appearance of the huge monster. It was actually a flight of stairs. The stairs were pure white. From the bottom to the top there were 9 stairs. After the 9 stairs there was a platform. On the platform there was a ball of light floating. They could clearly see a set of armor in the light. It was a set of bronze armor. Everyone's eyes burned with passion. The armor was definitely a creation left behind by a Lord God. They looked up the platform and saw 9 more stairs. There was another platform above the 9 stairs. There was also a ball of light on the platform. There was another set of armor in the light. This set of armor was silver in color. It was a set of silver armor. That was the second platform. That was not the end. There was a third platform. There were 9 more stairs on the second platform. Above those 9 stairs was the third platform. There was also a ball of light on the third platform. There was another set of armor in the light. It was a set of golden armor. That was still not the end. There were 9 more stairs on the third platform. After that, there was a fourth platform. There was another set of armor on the fourth platform. The armor was purplish gold. That was finally the end. 4 flights of stairs, 4 platforms, 4 sets of armor. This was obviously a creation left behind by the Lord God of the heavenly palace. The higher the level of the armor. Charge. The creation is mine. Many people showed a burning light. Their bodies turned into rays of light and rushed toward the stairs. However, when they got close to the stairs, a large amount of demonic chi suddenly spread out around the stairs. The demonic chi covered the sky and the sun. A large number of demons walked out from the demonic chi. The demons. Did the demons set up an ambush here in advance? Many people shouted in shock. No, these demons are not real. They are not alive. They have no life aura. They are condensed from the demonic chi. Someone saw the situation. Yes, the Lord of the demons set up a defensive measure here. Someone said. Before they came in, they already knew that the master-level figures of the demons would set up defensive measures in the land of good fortune of the heavenly palace, and the master-level figures of the heavenly palace would set up defensive measures in the land of good fortune of the demons. How can we break through the defensive measures set up by the demons' lord? Someone shouted with a change of expression. Don't panic. The Lord of the demons will not go all out. If that is the case, there is no need to set up a land of creation for this competition. It must be within the range of what we can handle. The Lord God of the heavenly palace must have checked it. Someone said. Everyone was relieved. Thinking about it, the Lord of their side must have checked it. It was impossible that he would let them suffer. It could be guessed that the defensive measures of the 2 lands of creation should be about the same. Charge. After everyone's hearts calmed down, their courage increased greatly. With a loud shout, they all rushed in the direction of the stairs. Kill. The demons condensed from the demonic chi also roared. They waved all kinds of weapons and attacked the people of the heavenly palace. The 2 sides collided and there was a violent explosion. However, at the moment of collision, some people died. Some of the weaker ones were directly killed by the demons. Oh no, these demons are so strong. Retreat, retreat quickly. Many people shouted and retreated frantically. Originally, there were more than 1,000 people on the heavenly palace's side. In an instant, at least 500 or 600 people retreated frantically and left the battlefield. There were still a few hundred people left. They continued to fight with all their might. Chapter 41:01. The remaining few hundred people were very powerful. At the very least, they were able to contend with these evil demons condensed from devilish chi. But there were too many demons in the baleful demon chi. It wasn't easy to get to the top of the stairs. Only some of the stronger ones could continue to charge forward. Among the hundreds of people, Lu Ming's speed was undoubtedly the fastest. His entire body was shrouded in dazzling rays of light. Both of his fists were not punching out. Every time he punched out, a demon would explode and turn back into demonic aura. However, after those demons exploded and turned back into baleful demon chi, they condensed again and charged at Lu Ming. It seemed like there were too many demons to kill. But those demons couldn't stop Lu Ming. Lu Ming kept moving forwards and the distance between him and the others increased. After a short time, Lu Ming successfully broke through the demon's encirclement and landed on the first flight of stairs. Initially, Lu Ming wanted to fly directly to the highest platform. However, a powerful force was suppressing him and he could not fly up at all. Lu Ming knew he was thinking too much. If he could fly to the top of the stairs, he wouldn't have needed those stairs. He landed on the bottom flight of stairs. When Lu Ming landed on the first step, the figure of a demon emerged from the top of the stairs. That demon immediately charged at Lu Ming. It wasn't weak, it had the strength of the 7th godly emperor layer. A 7th godly emperor layer cultivator was nothing in front of Lu Ming. He punched the demon and it exploded. Lu Ming took a step forward and landed on the second step. Immediately more demons appeared. This time there were 3 of them. 3 demons of the 7th godly emperor layer. But even if they had the strength of the 7th godly emperor layer, in front of Lu Ming, he could defeat them in one punch. With a single punch, the 3 demons were unable to put up any resistance and collapsed as well. Then he landed on the 3rd flight of stairs. On the 3rd flight of stairs, 9 demons of the 7th godly emperor layer appeared. He punched them and they passed. On the 4th flight of stairs, a demon of the 8th godly emperor layer appeared. He also punched them and they died. On the 5th flight of stairs, the 6th flight of stairs. The further he went, the stronger the demons were. In the end, a demon of the 9th godly emperor layer appeared. Of course it couldn't stop Lu Ming. Lu Ming quickly landed on the first flight of stairs. On the first flight of stairs there was a bronze armor. It looked extraordinary. However, Lu Ming pondered for a while and decided not to take the armor. It was the first flight of stairs, the weakest one. Of course he would take the strongest one. Lu Ming's target, the first flight of stairs, the first flight of stairs. At the very least he had to get the golden armor. Only then would he have a chance of winning. Lu Ming continued to step forward and landed on the first armor on the second flight of stairs. However, the second flight of steps was completely different from the first flight of steps. On the second flight of stairs there were no demons. There was only pressure. A terrifying pressure pressed down on Lu Ming's body. However, even though the pressure was terrifying, it was still bearable for Lu Ming. Lu Ming's muscles trembled and he pushed the pressure away. He continued on the second flight of stairs. On the second flight of stairs the pressure was even stronger. But it still couldn't do anything to Lu Ming. Bam, bam, bam. Lu Ming went up one step at a time without slowing down. When he reached the last step, the strong pressure finally exerted some pressure on Lu Ming. However, the taboo force in Lu Ming's cells erupted. He broke through the external pressure and stepped onto the second platform. At that moment, some other people arrived on the first flight of stairs. Dong Yuanqing, Bu Nan. They were the 6 strongest cultivators of the 6th godly emperor layer. They could fight cultivators 4 levels higher than them. The 6 of them were almost the same. They landed on the first flight of stairs at the same time. When they landed on the first flight of stairs, a demon condensed in front of them. They all had the strength of the 7th godly emperor layer. Naturally, such demons could not stop them. With a single attack, the demons in front of them were scattered. They were extremely fast. The demons on the first flight of stairs couldn't stop them. Very quickly they arrived on the first flight of stairs. The gazes of the 6 people all landed on the bronze armor, and they started to hesitate. In the end, the 6 of them moved towards the second flight of stairs at the same time. Their goal was the armor on the first flight of stairs. There were 3 more pieces of armor on the first flight of stairs. They guessed that Lu Ming wouldn't choose the silver armor. So, they had a chance to get the silver armor. At that moment, Lu Ming started moving towards the third flight of stairs. The silver armor wasn't Lu Ming's goal. When Lu Ming landed on the third flight of stairs, a black fire appeared on the third flight of stairs and enveloped Lu Ming. It was a demon fire. It was extremely hot. Lu Ming felt pain all over his body. "Break!" shouted Lu Ming furiously. He released forbidden strength to push the demon fire away. But then he was astonished. He realized that he couldn't push the demon fire away. The demon fire kept burning his body. He felt pain all over his body. Could it be that this flight of stairs is a test of my willpower? Lu Ming said in a low voice. He then gathered his spirit and energy and continued to step forward. As expected, the demon fire on the second flight of stairs was even more intense. It burned even more painfully. Even with Lu Ming's willpower, he couldn't help but take a deep breath. As expected, it was a test of willpower. If his willpower wasn't strong enough, he wouldn't be able to withstand it. However, Lu Ming had experienced many things along the way. His willpower had long been firm and indomitable. Bang, bang. Lu Ming continued to ascend. Every time he ascended a flight of stairs, the power of the demonic fire would increase by a notch. That kind of piercing pain would also increase. It almost exceeded the limit of an ordinary person's endurance. Lu Ming gritted his teeth and finally reached the 9th flight of stairs. The demon fire on this flight of stairs was too terrifying. This kind of demonic fire would not burn his body, nor would it destroy his body. It would only bring him endless pain. Lu Ming's body trembled slightly. He broke out in a cold sweat and was completely drenched in it. Puff, puff. Lu Ming took deep breaths to resist the urge to retreat. Finally, Lu Ming stepped onto the 9th flight of stairs with great willpower and arrived at the 3rd flight of stairs. On the 3rd flight of stairs was a set of golden armor. Should I choose this set? Lu Ming hesitated. To be honest, the previous flight of stairs was already very difficult. He had almost reached the limit of his endurance before he finally stepped onto it. Needless to say, the next flight of stairs would be even more difficult. Chapter 4102. Lu Ming was a little hesitant. The main reason was that he didn't know if he could return to get the golden armor if he failed on the 4th step. That demon genius Eugene is also not to be underestimated. If I get the golden armor, the other party might also get a treasure of the same level. My combat strength is lower than the other party's to begin with. If I get the same treasure, I'm still not the other party's match. At the thought of this, Lu Ming's gaze became determined. He planned to give it a try. If he wanted to win, he had to get the highest level of treasure. Only then would he be confident. After taking a look at the golden armor, Lu Ming continued to move forward and walked toward the fourth step of the stairs. He actually didn't choose the golden armor? Dong Yuanqing and the others were a little surprised. Originally, they had thought that Lu Ming would choose the golden armor, but they had set their sights on the silver armor. Unexpectedly, Lu Ming actually gave up on the golden armor and chose to continue climbing. It was obvious that his target was the purple armor at the highest level. The eyes of Dong Yuanqing and the other 5 flickered a few times. Then they moved at the same time and walked towards the third step. Seeing that Lu Ming had given up on the golden armor, they immediately set their sights on the golden armor. Dong Yuanqing and the other 5 stepped onto the third step. Like Lu Ming, they were also burned by the demonic fire and suffered great pain. They gritted their teeth and persevered. Further behind, there were also changes. 5 or 6 people had already stepped onto the first step and even reached the first platform. These people included Ling Yue and the battle god Yuanwen. During this period of time, the battle god Yuanwen had been constantly fighting with the demons and stimulated his potential. His cultivation had also broken through and reached the 4th layer of the Divine Emperor realm. With his strength that could cross 5 levels, it wasn't difficult for him to rush through the first step. After arriving at the first platform, Ling Yue and the battle god Yuanwen didn't even look at the bronze armor and directly walked towards the second step. The remaining people's eyes flickered a few times, and then they walked towards the bronze armor at the same time. Further up, there was Lu Ming and the 6 monstrous geniuses. They knew that they would definitely not have a share of the armor. Therefore their target was this armor. But in the next moment they all stopped and looked at each other warily. There was only one piece of armor, but there were 4 of them. How were they going to split it? Everyone, our main purpose in obtaining this armor is to fight against the demons and win this battle. After the battle, we might not be able to keep this armor for ourselves. Why don't you give it to me? One of the young women said. What you say makes sense. It's the same if you leave it to me. Another young man said immediately. I think I'm more suitable. I think it suits me. The other 2 young men refused to give way. Although he might not be able to keep the armor for himself after the battle, the more devils he killed while wearing the armor, the more credits he would gain. When the time came, the rewards would definitely be greater. Naturally, they would not give in. Whoosh. Suddenly, the woman who spoke first moved. She pounced on the bronze armor. Don't even think about it. The bronze armor is mine. The other 3 young men also threw themselves at the bronze armor. The 4 of them started fighting. Those who had managed to reach this far weren't weak. The 4 of them had the strength of the 9th godly emperor layer. The battle was intense. But in the end, one of the young men was stronger than the others. After getting injured, he was the first one to reach the bronze armor. It's mine, shouted the young man happily. He tried to grab the bronze armor. However, when the young man's palm neared the bronze armor, the armor emitted a powerful wave that sent the young man flying. The young man was pushed back a dozen steps and shouted furiously, "How is this possible?" The other 3 people were overjoyed. The woman took the first step and tried to grab the bronze armor, but she was also pushed away by the bronze armor. At this moment, the remaining 2 people were stunned and stopped in their tracks. Could it be that the armor knows how to choose people? Said one of them. Let's try it first, said the third person. He tried to grab the bronze armor. The others didn't stop him. However, the third person was also sent flying by the power of the bronze armor. After 3 people had been pushed away, the 4th person didn't have much confidence anymore. But he was unwilling to give up. He used his full strength to grab the bronze armor, but he was still pushed away. I don't believe it, shouted the first young man. He wasn't willing to give up. He tried to grab the bronze armor again, but the result was the same. He was also pushed away, but he wasn't injured. After that, the others also tried, but the result was the same. They were all pushed away. By then, Lu Ming had already stepped onto the stairs of the 4th stage. The 4th step was completely different from the previous ones. When Lu Ming reached the first step of the 4th step, a gigantic demon appeared in his mind. This devil was incomparably terrifying and exuded a terrifying aura. Is that a demon master? Lu Ming was astonished. The gigantic demon's eyes were like lightning. He stared at Lu Ming and hollered, "Get lost." His roar was accompanied by a terrifying pressure. It was as if all living beings had to kneel down in front of him. At the same time, there was a powerful force acting on Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body trembled. He was under such great pressure that he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. but in the end it was blocked by Lu Ming. Phew, what a strong pressure. There was a look of shock in Lu Ming's eyes. The pressure emitted by the gigantic demon didn't only affect the soul, but also the body. It was a dual pressure on the soul and the body. If one wasn't strong, didn't have a firm mind, didn't have an unyielding spirit, and didn't have an invincible spirit, they would succumb under this pressure. However, Lu Ming had a forbidden body. How could he succumb to others when he was doing forbidden things? Even if the other party was a demon master, he wouldn't succumb. No one in the world can make me succumb, not even a demon master. Lu Ming roared in his heart. His footsteps were firm as he stepped onto the second step. On the second step, the gigantic demon in his mind continued to roar, "Get down!" The pressure this time was stronger than the last time. Lu Ming's body trembled even more. Even his heart was trembling. However, Lu Ming's eyes were still filled with an unyielding light. Bang! He took another step up, the third step, the fourth step, the fifth step. Lu Ming continued to step on the sixth step. Chapter 4103. The higher the steps, the more horrifying the pressure that the huge evil demon emitted. In the end, it gave Lu Ming the illusion that he was facing a real demon master. A master was definitely a peak expert in the great desolate universe. Any one of them could be called an overlord. In the entire great desolate universe, aside from the heavenly palace, only the top 100 races had a master. Furthermore, many races only had one master. As the core strength, they usually did not make a move. Without a doubt, such a person already stood at the peak of billions of living beings. They were high and mighty, looking down on the entire universe. The pressure of such a person was incomparably terrifying. If he deliberately emitted his pressure, ordinary people would not even be able to stand steadily before him. They would kneel in fear. Of course, the demon master's pressure that appeared on the steps could not be the full pressure of a demon master. It was only a small portion. Otherwise, even if Lu Ming's will was firm and unyielding, he would not be able to withstand it. The difference in level was too great. Even so, Lu Ming was already under immense pressure. Bang! Following that, Lu Ming took a step forward and stepped onto the seventh step. The demon master's pressure on this step was even more horrifying. Lu Ming's body trembled and drops of blood seeped out of his pores. The most terrifying thing was the pressure on his mind. It was even greater than the pressure on his body. Lu Ming felt like an ant looking up at a divine dragon. A sense of helplessness spread out from his heart. He had a feeling that he could not win, No matter how strong the other party is, it is only temporary. As long as I walk forward step by step firmly, I will catch up to the other party sooner or later. I might even trample the other party under my feet. When I first started cultivating, Martial Monarch DE was high and mighty, as if he could not be defeated. However, in the end, didn't he die at my hands? After that, when I went to the heavenly realm, I felt that the evil god race was undefeatable and that the deities were unrivaled. However, didn't I defeat him in the end? After coming to the great desolate universe, I felt that the deities' kings were unrivaled. However, what about now? What are the deities' kings before me? As long as I have time, the divine master, the demon master, the lord of heaven, and even the lord of heaven will all be defeated by me. Lu Ming roared in his heart. His eyes, which had been somewhat shaken, once again became firm and unyielding. Along the way he had created too many miracles, defeated too many powerful enemies, and walked through too many twists and turns. His mind, his invincibility, had long been unshakable. He forcefully withstood the pressure of the seventh step and took another step forward, stepping onto the eighth step. After some effort, he managed to resist the pressure of the eighth step and stepped onto the ninth step. The pressure of the ninth step was too terrifying. It was as if a real demon lord had appeared. The terrifying and boundless pressure almost caused Lu Ming to kneel down. This time he almost knelt down. Both his legs were bent and fresh blood was seeping out from the surface of his body. He could even feel cracks appearing all over his bones. I will not yield. Lu Ming looked up to the sky and let out a long howl. His eyes were wide open in anger, and his long black hair fluttered in the wind. His originally bent body straightened up again. Bang! Lu Ming lifted his trembling right foot, as if he had used up all his strength, and finally stepped onto the platform. When Lu Ming stepped onto the platform, the huge devil figure in his mind disappeared. The pressure acting on Lu Ming's body and mind also disappeared without a trace. With a plop, Lu Ming sat on the ground, gasping for breath. He was too tired just now. After a while, Lu Ming recovered and looked down. Below, Dong Yuanqing and the other 5 experts were still on the third step, undergoing the test of the demonic flame. Their current achievements were naturally not flowers in a greenhouse. It was impossible for flowers in a greenhouse to have such achievements. They had also gone through many hardships along the way, and their willpower was also very strong. At this moment they had all reached the 9th step of the 3rd step. Although they felt that it was incomparably difficult, in the end, they all stepped onto the 3rd platform one after another. Then they looked at the golden armor with burning gazes. Then they looked at each other with some fear. There were 6 of them, but there was only one set of golden armor. How should they split it? The armor here seems to choose its target. You've seen the bronze armor below just now. Even if we compete, it's very likely to be useless. Why don't we take turns? Dong Yuanqing suggested. Oh, then who's going first? Bunan said lightly. The scene fell silent again. Everyone wanted to be the first to go up. To be honest, the 6 of them had similar talent and strength. Who was weaker than the other? If the golden armor chose one of them, it might also choose the others. No one wanted to fall behind the others. How about this? Let's draw lots to decide who's going first. If we fight and get injured, the devil will be the one to benefit, Dong Yuanqing suggested. Okay, I have no objections. I have no objections either. The others thought for a while and nodded in agreement. They were the top forces of the heavenly palace. If they were injured because of the golden armor, it would be very disadvantageous to the heavenly palace. This was not something they wanted to see, so they decided to draw lots. Soon the lot was drawn. Ah, I'm the first. Bunan laughed. He drew lots to be the first one to try, which made him ecstatic. Bam bam. He stepped forward and came in front of the golden armor. He channeled all the strength in his body and grabbed the golden armor with his palm. Buzz. Immediately, the golden armor vibrated slightly, and a powerful force surged out, directly bouncing Bunan back. Impossible, how is this possible? Bunan roared. He found it hard to accept that he had failed. I don't believe it. I want to try again. Bunan roared. He wanted to rush up again, but suddenly, a few figures appeared in front of him. A powerful aura surged toward him. Bunan, are you trying to break the agreement? The monster from the devil race said coldly. Bunan had no choice but to stop. His face was filled with reluctance. However, he could not be arrogant in front of these people. They were all peerless monsters from the top 10 races. Their status was not inferior to his. Although Dong Yuanqing was not from the top 10 races, he was also a monster from the World Divine Turtle race. The World Divine Turtle race was unparalleled in the world. Although they were not from the top 10 races, they were ranked 15th. Their status was not inferior to his. These people were not afraid of him. He could only wait obediently. It's my turn. The second was the peerless monster from the Battle Saint tribe. He stepped forward and came in front of the golden armor, grabbing it. Chapter 4104. The demon-level genius of the Battle Saint tribe also tried to grab the golden armor. However, the result was the same as Bunan. He was also sent flying. The second person failed. Because of this, the expressions of the others turned unsightly. Bunan and the demon-level genius of the Battle Saint tribe had talent and combat prowess that wasn't any weaker than them. Yet they had failed consecutively. Could it be that they were going to fail as well? The third person, Dong Yuanqing, failed. The fourth person, the fifth person, the sixth person. In the end, the 6 of them took turns to try. Without exception, all of them failed. What's going on? Does that mean that we can't obtain the golden armor? Bunan asked with reluctance. Up until now, no one had managed to obtain the golden armor. Earlier, no one had succeeded in obtaining the bronze armor. But if they couldn't obtain it, what was the point of a godlord-level character from the heavenly palace setting up such a place of good fortune? Next, Bunan and the others were unwilling to give up. They took turns to try again, but all of them failed. At this moment, their gazes involuntarily shifted upwards and landed on Lu Ming. They wanted to see if Lu Ming could succeed. All of them actually failed? Lu Ming was astonished when he saw this. His heart was filled with uncertainty. Because he didn't know what was going on. Did he make this trip for nothing? But since he was already here, he naturally had to give it a try. Right now, Lu Ming had more or less recovered. He stood up and walked towards the purple gold armor. Taboo energy enveloped his entire body as he grabbed the armor with his palm. When Lu Ming's palm neared the purple gold armor, he felt a slight vibration from the armor as a surge of energy surged towards him. But the moment this surge of energy neared his palm, it immediately retracted and vanished without a trace. Lu Ming grabbed the purple gold armor and held it in his hand. I got it. Below, Dong Yuanqing and the others were dumbfounded. Damn it. This was especially so for Bunan. He was extremely unhappy. They could not even get their hands on the golden armor, But Lu Ming could easily get his hands on the purple gold armor, which was of a higher level. It was obvious who was better. Should I use it or not? After obtaining the violet gold armor, Lu Ming was at a loss again. This was the armor left behind by the Lord of Heaven. If he wore it, he would have to inject forbidden power into the armor. Would the Lord of Heaven sense it? Actually, you don't have to be so conflicted. If it was so easy to be sensed, why would Fei Huang let you come to the Heavenly Palace? Why would she dare to let you come to the Heavenly Palace? Unless you come into contact with it personally, you won't be able to sense it so easily. Guamo said. That's true. Lu Ming nodded. A character on the level of the Lord of Heaven was too terrifying. Facing such a character, it was inevitable that Lu Ming would be cautious. Lu Ming immediately infused his forbidden energy into the purple gold armor. Instantly, the purplish gold armor emitted a dazzling glow. It transformed into a purplish gold ray of light and flew to Lu Ming's body. A set of purplish gold armor immediately appeared on the surface of Lu Ming's body, covering his entire body. This power, Lu Ming felt that an incomparably powerful power had appeared in his body. This power was brought about by the purple gold armor. At this moment, Lu Ming had a feeling that he could kill a god emperor with a single punch. Eugene, I look forward to fighting you again. Lu Ming whispered, his fighting spirit strong. It really worked. When the others saw Lu Ming wearing the purple gold armor and looking majestic, they were surprised, happy, and jealous. Jealousy was easy to understand. The happy thing was that Lu Ming was from the Heavenly Palace after all. Now that he had obtained the highest level of armor, their chances of winning against the demons had greatly increased. After all, this was a good thing. At the same time, it also brought a signal that these armors could be collected. There must be something wrong with the previous failure. At this moment, Ling Yue and the battle god Yuanwen had already arrived at the second platform. After arriving at the second platform, the battle god Yuanwen looked at the silver armor and then at the golden armor above. He resolutely continued to walk up towards the third platform. As for Ling Yue, after thinking for a moment, she did not continue upwards. She knew very well that in terms of talent, she was definitely not a match for the battle god Yuanwen. After her observation just now, it was very likely that these armors would be chosen for people with high talent. It did not have much to do with battle strength. This point could be seen from the failure of Dong Yuanqing, Bunan, and the others. If she were to compete with the battle god Yuanwen, she might not be a match for him. Therefore, she simply stayed on the second platform and walked towards the silver armor. She stretched out her hand and grabbed the silver armor. Just like when Lu Ming grabbed the purple gold armor, the silver armor emitted a trace of fluctuation at first. Then the fluctuation disappeared and the silver armor was grabbed by her. Success. The others widened their eyes in shock. Another one succeeded. Dong Yuanqing, Bunan, and the others were envious and jealous. They couldn't get the golden armor, and now the silver armor had been taken away. Could it be that they could only get the bronze armor? They were unwilling to give up and tried to get the golden armor again. However, the final result was still a failure. Obviously, those who could succeed were all successful in one try. If they couldn't succeed in one try, then there was definitely no chance. Bang, bang, bang. The sound of footsteps continued to ring out. The battle god Yuanwen was still heading towards the third platform. The demonic fire enveloped his entire body, but it could not extinguish his will and battle intent. In the end, he stepped onto the third platform and walked towards the golden armor. Bunan and the others did not stop him. The battle god, Yuanwen, grabbed the golden armor. However, he didn't get sent flying. He successfully caught it. Success. As expected, does it have a lot to do with talent? Someone whispered. They naturally knew about the talent of the battle god Yuanwen. He was the number one on the Quasi-Emperor Top 100 list, an unparalleled figure. Of course, this test was not completely dependent on talent. Battle strength was also part of it. Without a certain level of battle strength, one would not even be able to break through the demons condensed from demonic aura. Moreover, the first step of the stairs was a test of battle strength. At the very least, one had to have the battle strength of the 9th godly emperor layer to pass the first step. Without a certain level of battle strength, it was useless no matter how talented one was. In this way, the golden armor, and the silver armor all had owners. Now only the bronze armor was left. Dong Yuanqing and the others glanced at each other and then rushed down at the same time. They rushed down the stairs of the third step. Immediately, demonic fire filled the air. However, the demonic fire gradually weakened as they went down. They were very fast and soon arrived at the second platform. Then they continued down and arrived at the first platform. The 4 youths on the first platform hurriedly retreated. Let's attack together. It belongs to whoever can get it, Dong Yuanqing said and grabbed the bronze armor. The other 5 people also attacked at the same time and grabbed the bronze armor. Chapter 4105. The 6 young geniuses grabbed at the bronze armor together. At the instant they grabbed it, the bronze armor trembled violently as a powerful force burst forth. Swish, swish, swish. The 6 young geniuses were forced to retreat one after another. The hearts of everyone trembled. Could it be that none of the 6 young geniuses could obtain the bronze armor? No, it was actually 5 people who were forced back. There was still one person who hadn't moved. It was that monstrous genius from the Battle Saint tribe. He grabbed the bronze armor. After that, the bronze armor transformed into a beam of light that enveloped his body. A bronze-colored battle armor appeared on his body, enveloping him within. It's the battle god Yuan Kong. He succeeded. Awesome, the Battle Saint tribe is indeed a tribe famous for their battle prowess. Not only are they fond of battle, but their combat prowess is also unparalleled. The bronze armor ultimately chose the battle god Yuan Kong. Some people exclaimed, feeling extremely envious. Bu Nan, Dong Yuanqing, and the others had looks of unwillingness on their faces. This time, they actually didn't obtain any of the 4 armors in the land of good fortune. It was truly a little embarrassing. Of the 4 armors, the highest grade, the violet gold armor, was obtained by Lu Ming. The golden armor, second only to the violet gold armor, was obtained by the battle god Yuanwen. The silver armor was obtained by Ling Yue. The lowest grade bronze armor landed in the hands of the battle god Yuan Kong. Just like that, the 4 armors were divided among the 4 of them. Rumble, when the battle god Yuanwen obtained the bronze armor, the steps here trembled violently before collapsing, turning into energy and vanishing. The baleful devilish qi below the steps and the demons condensed from it all vanished as well. This area became the same as the other areas. It was just an ordinary rocky area. Great. In the surroundings, many people revealed looks of excitement. This time, the 4 armors left behind by the Divine Lord were all obtained. This was definitely the best ending. Muyun, battle god Yuanwen, how is it? Do you guys think you can deal with the demons? Dong Yuanqing's gaze turned to Lu Ming and the others. Don't worry. This armor contains powerful energy. Right now, I feel that my entire body is filled with inexhaustible energy. Even if I face that Eugene, I can still beat him to death. Battle god Yuanwen laughed, his battle intent surging. If the other party has also obtained the good fortune left behind by the Demon Lord, it won't be so easy to deal with them. There's no time to lose. We should act as soon as possible and find the traces of the demons. It's best if we can kill them before they obtain the good fortune left behind by the Demon Lord. At this moment, Lu Ming spoke. Everyone was shocked and calmed down. Yes, although they had obtained the creation left behind by the Divine Master, the demons had also obtained the creation left behind by the Demon Master. If the other party also obtained all the good fortune left behind by the Demon Lord, and the Demon Lord's strength was stronger than theirs, then they would be in danger. They would still be at a disadvantage. That's right, we have to find the evil demon as soon as possible. Act now. Everyone chimed in one after another. Leave the search to my World Turtle Clan. Since Dong Yuanqing had spoken, everyone naturally had no reason to disagree. Dong Yuanqing immediately left with the other sky prides of the world god turtles. The world's turtle clan was proficient in the Tao of rune formations. They were the most suitable to investigate the traces of the evil demons. After Dong Yuanqing and the others left, everyone waited at the same spot. Especially those who were injured while breaking through the stairs just now, they seized the time to heal their injuries. This wait lasted for an entire day. Suddenly, a figure flashed in the distance. Everyone looked and saw that it was Dong Yuanqing. Everyone knew that there was probably news about the evil demons. Everyone, we found the evil demons and they seem to be looking for us too, Dong Yuanqing said. What? The evil demons are looking for us too? In that case, the evil demons have also obtained the good fortune left behind by the Demon Lord and want to find us as soon as possible to kill us? Someone exclaimed. The evil demons were looking for them, obviously having the same idea as them. This was not good news for them. Indeed, the evil demons must have obtained the good fortune left behind by the Demon Lord. Dong Yuanqing said. Do you know if the evil demons have obtained all the good fortune left behind by the Demon Lord? Someone asked. I don't know about that. Dong Yuanqing shook his head. This made many people's hearts heavy. If the evil demons had also obtained all the good fortune left behind by the Demon Lord, they would be in danger. Should they still go and fight? Now that both sides have obtained the good fortune, there's no suspense. We're already in our strongest state. If we can't beat them now, we'll definitely lose. Instead of staying here in fear, it's better to fight the evil demons to the death. Lu Ming's voice sounded. That's right. We'll know whether we can beat them or not after we fight them. If the other party is stronger than us, it's useless even if we run away. Sooner or later we'll be found and killed by them. Battle God Yuanwen also shouted. That's right. We'll die if we go and kill them. Let's fight it out with them. The others also shouted. Even if some of them were timid, they had no choice but to bite the bullet and fight at this moment. As Lu Ming said, now that they had obtained the good fortune, they could only rely on their strength. There was no more suspense. Brother Dong Yuanqing, where is the evil demons? Lu Ming asked. Follow me. Dong Yuanqing said, turned around and stepped into the air. Lu Ming was the first to step out and catch up with Dong Yuanqing. The rest followed suit. They had been flying westward in a grandiose manner. They had no intention of hiding. Soon their tracks were discovered by the evil demons. The heavenly palace dares to come. It seems that they have obtained the good fortune left behind by the heavenly palace. Eugene, what should we do? A evil demon prodigy asked Eugene. What else can we do now? There's no way out now. We can only fight to the death with the heavenly palace. Listen to my order. Let's go and kill the bastards of the heavenly palace. Eugene shouted. Kill all the bastards of the heavenly palace. Kill. The evil demons roared. Evil Qi soared into the sky, and they charged in the direction of Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming and the others flew all the way. After a while, they're here. Lu Ming's gaze looked ahead. In front of them, the demonic Qi soared into the sky, rolling over like waves. Soon a large group of evil demons appeared. There were nearly 3,000 of them. When the evil demons came, there were nearly 4,000 of them. Because of Eugene, the evil demons' losses were not as great as the heavenly palaces. The heavenly palaces' numbers were less than 1,500. The difference in numbers between the two sides was more than half. This made the heavenly palaces' people pale. Some of the more timid ones were a little scared. But there was no way out now. They could only fight. Kill. When the evil demons saw Lu Ming and the others, they let out a deafening roar. Evil Qi soared into the sky. The evil demons flapped their wings and flew toward Lu Ming and the others. Chapter 4106. The demon army charged toward Lu Ming and the rest with billowing demonic aura. Among them, 3 were the most special. The reason for that was because the 3 of them were all wearing blood-red demonic armors. Behind the magic armor, there was a pair of wings made of energy extending out. One of them had a pair of wings on his back, another had 2 pairs of wings, and the last had 3 pairs of wings. These wings were part of the blood-red demonic armor, not their own demonic wings. Among them, Eugene had 3 pairs of wings. It seems that this blood-red magic armor is the devil's fortune. The more wings a devil has, the higher its level. I wonder if Eugene's is the best among the devil's fortune. A thought flashed across Lu Ming's mind. His figure did not stop as he dashed forward. Charge! The people from the heavenly palace also roared and rushed towards the devil. Among them, Lu Ming and Eugene were the fastest. The purple gold battle armor had already covered Lu Ming's entire body, making him look majestic and awe-inspiring. Kid, I'll kill you today. Eugene stared at Lu Ming immediately, his eyes filled with cold, murderous intent. The blood-red magic armor on his body emitted a terrifying blood-red light, making him look like an ancient demon god. That's exactly what I wanted to say. Today is the day you die, Eugene. Lu Ming also said coldly. The 2 of them were the fastest. Like 2 shooting stars, they cut across the sky and collided with a boom. Boom. The world shook violently. The purple gold light and the blood-red light lit up the entire sky. It was like 2 stars colliding and exploding. Who's stronger? At this moment, almost everyone's attention was focused on the 2 of them. The success or failure of Lu Ming and Eugene was likely to affect the final victory or defeat of the heavenly palace and the devils. Everyone was paying attention. Whoosh. In the next moment, a figure retreated quickly. At this moment, all the devil's eyes widened. It was Eugene. That retreating figure was actually Eugene. This shocked the countless fiends. On the other hand, the people from the heavenly palace were ecstatic. Lu Ming had gained the upper hand. The strongest existence on the demon's side, Eugene, was no longer so terrifying. The heavenly palace's people were most afraid of Eugene. But now the strongest demon, Eugene, was being suppressed by Lu Ming. What was there to be afraid of? Kill? The morale of the heavenly palace was greatly boosted. They roared and charged towards the demons. On the other hand, the demons' morale was low and they were no longer as strong as before. You're mine. The battle god Yuan was clad in a golden battle armor. He looked extraordinarily mighty as his battle intent soared to the sky. He condensed a battle spear with his energy and stared at the fiend wearing a blood-red demonic armor with 2 pairs of wings. That demon also charged towards the battle god Yuan. The two of them exchanged a blow, but it was the demon who retreated quickly. Once again the demons were at a disadvantage. This time, the morale of the heavenly palace was even higher, while the demons were even weaker. Rumble. The other people from the heavenly palace and the demons also collided and a fierce battle broke out. High up in the sky, Eugene, it seems that you didn't get the best creation left by the demon lord. Lu Ming sneered. Could it be? Eugene looked at Lu Ming in shock. Lu Ming's combat strength was originally weaker than his, but now he could suppress him. This obviously meant that Lu Ming's creation was stronger than his. You're right. I got the best creation. The one who will die today will be you. Lu Ming's cold voice came out. He didn't stop and charged towards Eugene. So what if you got the best creation? I'm invincible. I can still defeat you. Eugene roared. His eyes were red as if he had gone mad. He pushed all his strength to the extreme and charged towards Lu Ming. The two of them collided and fought fiercely. Rumble. The two of them fought fiercely and crazily. In an instant they had exchanged more than 10 rounds. Bam. Then Eugene's figure retreated rapidly and crashed into the ground, creating a large crater. But in the next moment, blood spurted into the sky. Eugene rushed towards Lu Ming again and the two of them continued to fight. But this time, before the 10 moves were over, Eugene's body was pushed back and smashed into the ground again. This time he spat out mouthfuls of blood. Cracks appeared on his blood-red demonic armor. There was even a fist-sized hole in one part of the armor that had caved in. Kill? Lu Ming roared. His whole body was wrapped in purple gold light. He swooped down and charged towards Eugene. Even before Zhang Xian arrived, his fearsome might had already caused the ground to explode. Ah! Eugene roared. Naturally, he didn't want to be killed like this. He used all his strength and rushed into the sky to fight against Lu Ming. Rumble. The two of them exchanged blows in the air. But at this time Eugene was already injured. Even his blood-red magic armor was damaged. His combat strength was greatly reduced and he couldn't resist Lu Ming's attack. His body fell quickly again. Lu Ming didn't stop attacking. He rushed towards Eugene and punched continuously. Rumble. Rumble. At this moment, Eugene couldn't defend at all. Lu Ming's fists fell on his body like raindrops. The speed was too fast. In a breath, Lu Ming had thrown hundreds of punches. All of them landed on Eugene's body. If it wasn't for the blood-red magic armor, Eugene would have exploded into a cloud of blood. Even so, Eugene was seriously injured. Crack. At this time, more cracks appeared on Eugene's magic armor. It sounded like porcelain breaking. No! Eugene roared unwillingly. The next moment, his magic armor exploded into pieces and flew in all directions. His magic armor was destroyed by Lu Ming. Without his magic armor and in a seriously injured state, Eugene was like an ant in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming grabbed Eugene's head with his palm and squeezed it hard. Eugene's head exploded. Eugene was dead. Then Lu Ming drew out Eugene's demon spirit blood and stored it in a jade bottle. Eugene, in the Divine Emperor realm, could fight across 5 levels. His talent wasn't inferior to fighting God Yuan. This kind of demon had unlimited potential. No one knew how far he could grow. The amount of demon spirit blood he could exchange for must be shockingly high. Eugene is dead. At this moment, the demons were in chaos. Eugene was the most powerful demon in this batch of demons. He was also the most powerful prodigy. However, he had been killed by Lu Ming. Even Eugene, who was wearing 3 pairs of demon wings, couldn't defeat him. How could they? All the demons felt cold and lost their will to fight. In this way, the Heavenly Palace seized the opportunity and took advantage of their weakness to kill many demons in one fell swoop. The demon who was fighting with Fighting God Yuan was completely suppressed by Fighting God Yuan. At this moment, Fighting God Yuan seized the opportunity and chopped off his head. He died on the spot. Chapter 4107. On the demon's side, the demon wearing a pair of demon-winged armor had been targeted by Ling Yue and was also suppressed by her. At this moment, Ling Yue's arrow pierced through his armor and killed him in midair. Their magic armors were 1 level lower than Ling Yue, Battle God Yuan, and the others. Lu Ming and the others speculated that the highest level of fortune left behind by the demon lord should be the 4 pairs of demon-winged armor, which corresponded to the purple gold battle armor that Lu Ming had obtained. Eugene's 3 pairs of demon winged armor corresponded to the golden battle armor that the battle god Yuanwen had obtained. 2 pairs of demon winged armor corresponded to the silver battle armor. A pair of demon winged armor corresponded to the bronze battle armor. And now the demons and Lu Ming's group were all 1 level lower. How could they be a match for Lu Ming and the others? Naturally, they were all killed one-sidedly. The 3 people on the demon's side who had obtained the demon lord's fortune were all killed. This made the demons' morale extremely low. Retreat. Let's go. Many demons roared and retreated, no longer having the slightest intention to fight. You want to leave? Lu Ming's eyes were cold as he suddenly moved horizontally. The power of the purple gold battle armor that he had activated was too strong. An ordinary first-layer God realm existence would be killed by him with a single punch. Even his speed was extremely fast. As soon as he moved, he appeared in front of a tall and sturdy abyss devil. This demon was a top-notch demon genius, on the same level as Dong Yuanqing and the others. At this moment, seeing Lu Ming suddenly appear, he was scared witless and subconsciously wanted to retreat, but how could he retreat? Lu Ming's palm was like a blade as he slashed out, breaking through all of his opponent's attacks and defenses, splitting him into 2 halves. At the same time, he grabbed the demon spirit blood in his hand. In the next moment, Lu Ming attacked another demon. Lu Ming specifically targeted the top-notch demons to kill. He killed 1 demon with 1 move. Within a breath's time, several top-notch demons were killed. I admit defeat. Let's admit defeat. Yes, admit defeat. At this moment, many demons roared. As long as 80% of the demons admitted defeat at the same time, they wouldn't have to die. At this point, there was no point in continuing to fight. Facing Lu Ming and the others who were wearing battle armor, they were like ants. There was no way for them to fight back. If they continued to fight, they would only be wiped out. Might as well just admit defeat. Yes, admit defeat, admit defeat. Admit defeat. The other demons also reacted. At this moment, they no longer cared about being punished by the demon lord after admitting defeat. They only wanted to save their lives first. Many abyss devils wanted to admit defeat. 1. At this moment, Lu Ming activated the purplish gold battle armor with all his strength. His entire body shone with a dazzling radiance as a terrifying power constantly spread out, enveloping a large area around him. There were at least 1,000 evil demons in this area. They were suppressed by Lu Ming's power, and their bodies were about to explode. Not only were they unable to move, they couldn't even speak. Since he couldn't speak, he naturally couldn't admit defeat. These demons were so anxious that their faces turned red, but they couldn't scream. Without 1,000 evil demons admitting defeat, even if all the other evil demons admitted defeat, it would be useless. This was because more than 80% of the evil demons had to admit defeat to be considered a loss. Kill? Don't let a single evil demon go. The heavenly palace roared as they charged towards the evil demons. Especially battle god Yuanwen, Ling Yue, and battle god Yuan Kong. They were wearing battle armor and were invincible. As they charged past, a large number of evil demons were killed, and a large amount of evil demon spirit blood fell into their hands. The surrounding people were so envious that their eyes turned red. One had to know that these evil demons were all geniuses among the evil demons. They all had great potential, and the evil demon spirit blood of each evil demon was shockingly valuable. It was almost impossible to meet so many evil demon geniuses under normal circumstances. Lu Ming wasn't idle either. He also started a massacre against the evil demons. The thousands of evil demon geniuses were suppressed by the power of his purple gold battle armor. They were like lambs waiting to be slaughtered by Lu Ming. Lu Ming punched out, and a large number of evil demon geniuses were killed. The evil demon spirit blood was attracted by Lu Ming's powerful strength, and all of it was stored in a jade box. Lu Ming's body glowed as he charged forward. Wherever he passed, no evil demon could survive. There was no need to be soft-hearted or show mercy to the evil demons. He just needed to kill them. Over 1,000 evil demon geniuses were killed by Lu Ming in just a short while. Over 1,000 drops of evil demon spirit blood fell into Lu Ming's hands. At this moment, the remaining evil demon geniuses were almost killed by battle god Yuanwen, Ling Yue, and the others. Almost none of them escaped. The top forces of the evil demons were all killed by Lu Ming. When facing the heavenly palace, it was completely one-sided. In addition, battle god Yuanwen and the others had battle armor. The difference in combat strength was too great. The evil demons couldn't even escape. Almost all the evil demons who came to fight were killed. Aha, victory. We won. Many people in the heavenly palace laughed loudly, incomparably excited. Especially the group of people who had been suppressed and chased by Eugene and the others. They were even more excited. This victory was too difficult to come by. Previously, they were chased by the evil demons all the way. They were no match for them at all. They were on tenterhooks every day. Every time they thought about it, they felt that they were doomed this time. They were no match for the evil demons. They didn't expect that they would win in such a short time. Moreover, almost all the evil demons were wiped out. Victory came too suddenly. The Lord of Heaven and the other lords haven't appeared yet. It's not over yet. This means that there are still some evil demons scattered everywhere and haven't been killed. We have to find these evil demons and kill them all. Only then can it be considered a true victory. Dong Yuanqing said. Everyone calmed down and nodded. Indeed, the condition for victory was to kill all the evil demons or have more than 80% of the evil demons admit defeat. Clearly there were still evil demons alive and didn't follow before. These scattered evil demons didn't know that they had already lost. Naturally, more than 80% of them admitted defeat. Let's search for the evil demons in batches. Search inch by inch. We must find every evil demon. Okay, let's do that. Everyone roared. Then, a group of a dozen people spread out and went in all directions to search for the evil demons. Outside the temporary planet, in the sky above, the evil demons and the 12 Lord-level existences of the heavenly palace stood on both sides of the temporary planet. Their eyes were like stars, clearly seeing what was happening on the temporary planet. Trash, a bunch of trash. A demon lord shouted coldly. His voice was incomparably cold and contained terrifying anger. The other demon lords were similar. Although they didn't speak, the demon fire on their bodies burned fiercely, turning the void into chaos. The flames in their eyes seemed to have turned into two suns. Chapter 4108. Ah, everyone, it looks like our heavenly palace's prodigies are slightly better. Thank you for letting us have the great tomb of heaven and earth. A Lord of Heaven laughed heartily. Even a Lord of Heaven couldn't help but feel excited. The great tomb of heaven and earth had been left behind by a terrifying existence. Even a divine lord would find it difficult to compare to that level of strength. Even a lord-level figure would be tempted by a place left behind by such a being. Damn it. The 6 demon lords snorted coldly, extremely displeased. The great tomb of heaven and earth also contained a peerless demon powerhouse. They also wanted to obtain it. Unfortunately, they'd made a bet with a lord-level figure from the heavenly palace and sworn an oath with their life essence. Given their cultivation, they didn't dare violate it. They could only give up this great opportunity to someone from the heavenly palace. No matter how unwilling they were, it was useless. Although the competition wasn't over yet, the result was already out. There was no suspense. It was only a matter of time before the winner was officially decided. That guy. The image of a young man floated into the minds of the 6 demon lords. This young man was Lu Ming. The demon's defeat this time was entirely due to Lu Ming. If Lu Ming hadn't obtained the highest level of violet gold armor and killed Eugene, the demons wouldn't have lost at all. Lu Ming would have been the winner. It was because of Lu Ming's appearance that the tide of the battle had turned. They etched Lu Ming's image deeply into their minds. If they had the chance in the future, they wouldn't let Lu Ming have it easy. The hunt continued on the temporary planet. Lu Ming also participated in the hunt. These demon prodigies were all merit points. It would be a waste not to take them. In the merit exchange hall, there were treasures everywhere. There were countless treasures of all kinds, all of which required merit points. As for merit points, the more the better. The more the better. Under the relentless search of the heavenly palace, those demons definitely could not hide. One by one they were found and killed. Half a month later, when the last demon prodigy was killed, Lu Ming suddenly felt a force acting on him. In the next moment, his figure disappeared and reappeared in the void. Above them, there were 12 terrifying figures standing in the air, watching them. These 12 terrifying figures were, of course, the masters of the heavenly palace and the demons. Lu Ming glanced around and realized that many people had appeared around him. They were all geniuses from the heavenly palace. There was not a single demon here. Of course not. They were all killed by them. Ah, good. You all have done well this time around. We've all seen your performance. A laugh came from the sky. Many people were overjoyed. It was a great honor to be noticed by someone like the Lord of Heaven. You've already lost. Why don't you take your demon descendants and leave this place? Another Lord of Heaven said to the demon master of the demons. His voice boomed like thunder. Let's go. The demon master of the demons had nothing to say. His body moved and his figure disappeared from the spot. The 6 demon masters disappeared without a trace. Not long after, the demon army began to retreat. You all did well, especially you. You're called Mu Yun, right? Another voice came from the sky. Lu Ming felt like 2 suns were staring at him. It was the gaze of a Lord of Heaven elite. To be honest, Lu Ming was still a little nervous facing an existence like the Lord of Heaven. After all, he had a taboo body. It would be a lie to say that he did not feel a little guilty. Yes, Lord of Heaven. Fortunately, Lu Ming's mind was extraordinary. He calmed his mind and cupped his fists. Very good, you've done well. This time you'll be heavily rewarded. When we return to the City of Dreams, the Heavenly Palace will give you a corresponding reward. A Lord of Heaven said. The others were all envious. The Lord of Heaven had personally spoken, and there would be a heavy reward. This was definitely very shocking. Furthermore, to be praised by the Lord of Heaven was also a great honor. Thank you, Lord of Heaven. Lu Ming cupped his fists in gratitude once again. And you guys, we've all seen your performance. If you've done well, you'll naturally be rewarded. Later on, you'll all be heavily rewarded. The Lord of Heaven continued to speak. As soon as he finished speaking, he extended a hand and waved it. Lu Ming immediately felt the purple gold battle armor on his body fly out of his control and be put away by the Lord of Heaven. Not only him, but the battle armor of the battle god Yuan Wen Ling Yu Wei and the battle god Yuan Kong were also put away. These battle armors are not suitable for you to use for the time being, so I'll put them away first. Alright, all of you can disperse. After putting away the battle armor, the Lord of Heaven waved his hand and said. Lu Ming despised him in his heart. In the end, he couldn't even bear to give out these battle armors and even took them back. Lu Ming immediately lost all hope for the rest of the rewards. In addition, what made Lu Ming heave a sigh of relief was that fortunately, he was prepared and had already put away the taboo power in the battle armor, not leaving a single trace behind. Otherwise, it would be hard to guarantee that the Lord of Heaven would not discover it. Yes, Lord of Heaven. Everyone accepted the order and left one after another, returning to Nantian City. Lu Ming and the others still had a few years before they could return to the City of Dreams after 100 years. In the next few years, they didn't have anything to do, nor did they go out to hunt demons. They cultivated in peace in Nantian City. During this period of time, Lu Ming had improved very quickly. It was just nice to spend some time consolidating his cultivation realm. Several years passed in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming and the others had already been guarding Nantian City for 100 years. After completing their mission, they returned to the City of Dreams under the lead of several sky officials and returned to the Sky River camp outside the City of Dreams. In Lu Ming's residence, Lu Ming, Ling Yu Wei, and Dandan began to divide up the demon spirit blood. I'm so envious of you guys. You guys should have hunted a large number of demon geniuses. Dandan looked at Lu Ming and Ling Yu Wei enviously. He was over the age limit and didn't participate in the competition. How about I give you some? Lu Ming said. Really? Dandan's eyes immediately lit up. It's fake. Lu Ming smiled. Tsk, I knew it. Dandan said in a bad mood. Haha, how about this, I'll give you those 2 drops of Demon Emperor's demon spirit blood. Yue, you don't have any objections, right? Lu Ming said. Of course I don't have any objections. Ling Yue nodded. She had also hunted a lot of demon geniuses this time and had gained a lot. Moreover, before the battle with the demon geniuses, Dandan had contributed a lot when they were hunting demons for the first 90 years. Most of the time, they had relied on Dandan's formation to get through the difficulties and gain a lot. In the first 90 years, they had obtained a total of 2 drops of Demon Emperor Realm Demon Spirit blood. 1 drop was when they met a demon emperor who was heavily injured by an expert of the Buddha clan and was killed by the 3 of them together. The other drop came from when the demon army was attacking the city. Dandan used the formation to take advantage of the chaos. Chapter 4109. At least you guys have some conscience. I'll accept those 2 drops of Demon Emperor Realm Demon Spirit blood. Only then did Dandan smile and accept the 2 drops of Demon Emperor Realm Demon Spirit blood. Then they divided the other demon spirit blood equally. Of course, the demon spirit blood of the demon geniuses that were hunted on the temporary planet was not divided equally. The demon spirit blood that was obtained in the first 90 years were divided equally. After dividing the demon spirit blood equally, the 3 of them were very satisfied. However, they did not immediately go to the Well of Merit to exchange for merit points. They had just returned from Nantian City. During this period of time, there would definitely be a lot of people going to the Well of Merit to exchange for merit points. Even if they went now, they would still have to line up and attract attention. They waited for more than 10 days before going to the Well of Merit together. Look at how many merit points I have. As soon as he arrived at the Well of Merit, Dandan couldn't wait to rush up. Then he took out all of his demon spirit blood and poured it into the Well of Merit. The Well of Merit immediately emitted a multicolored light. In the next moment, a row of words appeared. 1 2 3 3 2 3 4. Lu Ming and Ling Yue's eyes suddenly lit up. More than 1,000,000, Dandan's merit points had actually reached more than 1,000,000. This was truly a great harvest. Of course, 2 drops of Demon Emperor Realm demons naturally couldn't be worth so much demon spirit blood. There were also many 9th layer, 8th layer, and 7th layer demon spirit blood, which was why there were so many merit points. Ah! Dandan grinned, extremely excited. More than 1,000,000 merit points, how many treasures could he exchange for? Dandan had already begun to calculate in his heart. What treasure was he going to exchange for in the Merit Exchange Hall? That line of words flew into Dandan's identity jade tablet and disappeared. The jade tablet flew back into Dandan's hand. It's your turn. Dandan retreated, the smile on his face never disappearing. He looked at Lu Ming and Ling Yue with a face full of smiles, meaning that it was your turn to see how many merit points you had. Let me do it, you're last. Ling Yue said to Lu Ming. She knew that Lu Ming was the most, so she left Lu Ming at the end. She went to the Well of Merit, took out all her merit points and poured them into the Well of Merit. Suddenly the Well of Merit was filled with multicolored light. The intensity of the multicolored light was even greater than that of Dandan. The next moment, a row of numbers appeared. 1809897. So many? Dandan's eyes widened in surprise, a look of astonishment on her face. That was more than 1.8 million merit points. Ling Yue didn't have the demon spirit blood of a Demon Emperor Realm demon, but she actually had so many merit points, more than 600,000 merit points than Dandan. How many Devil Sky Prides have you killed in the temporary planet? Dandan was tongue-tied as he looked at Ling Yue. I don't have a lot, but he does. Ling Yue said as she looked at Lu Ming. Ling Yue was quite satisfied with the merit points she had obtained. On the temporary planet, she had obtained the silver armor. In the final battle, she had killed a large number of Devil Sky Prides. Even the Devil Sky Prides that were comparable to Dong Yuanqing and Bunan had been killed by her. In addition to the demon spirit blood of the other Devil Sky Prides, as well as the demon spirit blood that she had accumulated over the past 90 years, she had obtained so many merit points. However, she knew that Lu Ming had a lot more than her. One had to know that almost all the top Devil Sky Prides had died at the hands of Lu Ming, especially Eugene. This kind of person could fight across 5 levels. His potential was too strong. Who knew how many merit points he could exchange for? Ling Yue put away her identity jade tablet and retreated, looking at Lu Ming expectantly. Mu Yun, you killed more? Then hurry up and go. Let me see how many merit points you can get. Dandan urged. Lu Ming nodded. To be honest, after seeing Ling Yue's merit points, he himself was somewhat looking forward to it. Arriving at the Well of Merit, Lu Ming poured all the demon spirit blood into the Well of Merit in one go. In the next moment, a pillar of light erupted from the Well of Merit. It was many times stronger than the light that Dandan and Ling Yue had caused. Even the powerhouses guarding the Well of Merit were alarmed and looked over curiously. What a strong multicolored light. To be able to cause such a huge reaction from the Well of Merit, how many merit points did this little guy obtain? Looking at his cultivation, he's only at the 5th level of the Divine Emperor realm. It's rare for a second-class heavenly soldier to be able to cause such a huge reaction from the Well of Merit. In the dark, a few experts guarding the Well of Merit were communicating with each other. They were all rather surprised. Dandan and Ling Yue also widened their eyes and stared at the sky above the Well of Merit. Then a line of numbers appeared. 89566723. This, Dandan was stunned. His eyes widened with all his might, and he looked like he was in a daze. More than 8.9 million? Could it be that my eyes are playing tricks on me? Did I misread the number of words? Dandan rubbed his eyes with all his might and stared fixedly. In the end, he was sure that what he saw was really more than 8 million. Then Dandan was completely petrified. So much. Even though Ling Yue was mentally prepared, she was still shocked. A total of more than 8.9 million, 5 times more than the merit points she had obtained. This was an astonishing number. Nest, how do you have so many merit points? How many devil geniuses have you killed? After Lu Ming put away his identity jade tablet, Dandan finally reacted and shouted excitedly. It's all right. It's mainly because I've killed a lot of top devil geniuses. Almost all of the top devil geniuses that participated in that competition were killed by me. There's also a devil genius that can fight across 5 levels. Lu Ming said casually. F***CK, Danden's eyes almost popped out. A devil genius that could cross 5 levels, no wonder he could obtain so many merit points. The merit points that such a genius could exchange for far exceeded the merit points that a devil emperor could exchange for. Unless it was a high-level devil emperor. If I had known that you had killed so many devil geniuses, I would have taken some from you no matter what. Danden screamed miserably, beating his chest and stamping his feet in regret. Merit points couldn't be traded. They could only be used by oneself. This little guy, even the experts guarding the merit points were somewhat stunned. More than 9 million was truly terrifying. One had to know that some divine generals couldn't even exchange for so many merit points at once. They had guarded this place for countless years, and such a situation was extremely rare. Not bad, Lu Ming revealed a smile. He was very satisfied with this harvest. With so many merit points, how many treasures could he exchange for? He picked up the merit points and scanned them with his spiritual sense. He discovered that the number inside the merit points had changed. Originally, the number was 123567/67. Now it had become 9080290/8956790. Lu Ming's total merit points had reached more than 9 million. He was less than 1,000,000 points away from reaching the standard of a divine general. This was an extremely shocking harvest. Chapter 41:10. All in all, the three of them were very satisfied. This time they had accumulated more than 1 million merit points. 1 million merit points was enough to become a first-class celestial soldier. Let's go and become first-class celestial soldiers. Not only can we have first-class celestial armors, we can also cultivate on the 3rd floor of the Fortune Tower. There are many benefits. Danden exclaimed, quickly adjusting his attitude. Let's go, Lu Ming said. There were many benefits to becoming a first-class celestial soldier. There was no reason not to. As long as they accumulated 1 million merit points, they could be promoted regardless of whether they spent them or not. The three of them immediately set off for the Military Affairs Department of Dream Sky City. The Military Affairs Department was responsible for the promotion and management of celestial soldiers and celestial generals. At the same time, celestial armors could be obtained here. Soon the three of them arrived in front of a large hall. What are you doing here? 2 celestial soldiers stopped Lu Ming's group at the entrance of the hall. We're here to become celestial soldiers, Danden said. Become celestial soldiers? The 2 celestial soldiers looked at Lu Ming's group confidently and asked, What rank are you? We're all going to become first-class celestial soldiers, Danden replied. The 3 of you are going to become first-class celestial soldiers? Are you sure? One of the celestial soldiers widened his eyes in disbelief. That's right. Danden nodded again. Suddenly the 2 celestial soldiers burst into laughter, then looked at Danden and said, You're joking, right? With your cultivation you want to become first-class celestial soldiers? That's impossible. Alright, the Military Affairs Department is not a place for jokes. I'll give you a chance to leave immediately. Otherwise I'll report it and you'll be punished. What? Those 3 want to become first-class celestial soldiers? The commotion here alarmed the nearby people. There were many celestial soldiers coming and going in the Military Affairs Department. Many of them looked curiously at Lu Ming's group. Lu Ming's group of 3 was only at the 5th Godly Emperor realm. It was simply impossible for them to become first-class celestial soldiers. What was a first-class celestial soldier? That would require 1 million merit points. Normally, in the heavenly soldiers, one's cultivation would first break through to the God Emperor realm. Then, using the God Emperor realm's powerful fighting strength, they would hunt demons and accumulate merits before they could advance to the God Emperor realm. Therefore, the cultivation of a first-rate heavenly soldier was usually at the God Emperor realm. Of course, there were also some monstrous geniuses who had been promoted to first-class celestial soldiers when they were divine emperors. However, those people were all peerless geniuses and they were all high-level divine emperors. High-level godly emperors. Only those who had the strength of the 7th godly emperor layer and above were considered high-level godly emperors. Lu Ming and the 2 others had the strength of the 5th godly emperor layer and they were going to become first-class celestial soldiers. Wasn't that a joke? No wonder people didn't believe it. Danden frowned and said, I said I'm going to be promoted, so I'm going to be promoted. There's no rule in the Military Affairs Department that prevents others from being promoted to celestial soldier. Get out of my way. Danden was originally in high spirits, but he was mocked as soon as he arrived. We are doing this for your own good. If you enter the military affairs department and are found to have less than 1,000,000 merit points, you will be punished. Not bad. If you know what's good for you, leave now. The two heavenly soldiers guarding the door mocked and ridiculed. Their expressions were somewhat ugly. Get out of my way, shouted Dandan coldly. You really don't know what's good for you. The two guards groaned coldly and got out of the way. Lu Ming and the two others swaggered in. I don't believe they can become first-class celestial soldiers. Let's go and see, said the two guards, looking for a friend to help them. They followed Lu Ming and the others inside. Let's go and see. Around them, the others also followed one after another, looking like they were here to watch a good show. Even though Lu Ming and the two others looked confident, they still found it hard to believe that the three of them, who had the strength of the fifth godly emperor layer, could become first-class celestial soldiers at the same time. Even if there was one, it would be a miracle, let alone three. This was simply too inconceivable. But Lu Ming and the two others weren't idiots. They knew they would be punished, but they still wanted to be promoted. Did they want to be famous? Thus, many people were very curious. Lu Ming and the others led a large group of people to a counter. Several celestial officials were working at the counter. When they saw Lu Ming and the others leading a large group of celestial soldiers, they were rather curious. What are you doing? Asked one of the white-haired celestial officials. We want to become first-class celestial soldiers. Dandan was still the one who spoke. He even added a sentence towards the end. The celestial officials behind the counter were shocked. They had the same idea as the two guards. After all, Lu Ming and the others looked very young. The strongest of them was only at the fifth godly emperor layer, but they wanted to become first-class celestial soldiers. Even though they had worked for many years, they had never seen such a thing. Of course, we're sure. This is my identity token. You can check it. Dandan impatiently took out her identity jade tablet and handed it to the white-haired heavenly official. She then swept a cold and arrogant glance at the two heavenly officials guarding the gate. He couldn't wait to slap the faces of these two heavenly officials. The white-haired celestial official took Dandan's identity token, then took out a formation plate and placed the token on it. The formation plate lit up and a number appeared on it. It was Dandan's merit points. The surrounding people couldn't help but open their eyes wide. More than 1,000,000. Dandan really did have more than 1,000,000 merit points. More than 1,200,000 merit points, and most of them hadn't been spent. This was especially true for the two heavenly soldiers guarding the door. They almost lost their tongues and their faces turned red. Hee, some people are really snobs. Dandan glanced triumphantly at the two heavenly soldiers guarding the door. Humph, you meet the requirements to become a first-class celestial soldier, but what about them? You just said that the three of them would become first-class celestial soldiers. One of the heavenly soldiers was indignant and retorted. Oh, if you want to see, open your dog eyes wide, said Dandan. Then he looked at the white-haired celestial official and said, Senior, what do you think? Do I meet the requirements to become a first-class celestial soldier? You have more than 1,000,000 merit points. Of course you meet the requirements. I'll help you with the procedures, said the white-haired celestial official. The procedures were actually very simple. They just had to modify Dandan's identity jade talisman and then make a note of it. After making the final note, they took out a set of golden armor and handed it to Dandan. It was a first-class celestial soldier armor. It could block an attack from an ordinary cultivator of the third great supreme god layer. Many third-class celestial soldiers and second-class celestial soldiers looked envious. Dandan took the celestial soldier battle armor and immediately put it on, feeling proud of herself. Chapter 41:11. Senior, this is my identity jade tablet. Then Ling Yuwei stepped forward and handed her identity jade tablet to the white-haired sky official. The white-haired sky official took Ling Yuwei's identity jade tablet and placed it on the array disk. Immediately, another line of words appeared. More than 8,000,000 merit points. Stunned, the surrounding people were stunned once again. Ling Yuwei's contribution points were actually more than Dandan's, reaching over 8,000,000. This had completely reached the standard of being promoted to a first-class heavenly soldier. Did you see that? Dandan glanced at the two heavenly soldiers' guards, his eyes filled with disdain and ridicule. The faces of the two heavenly soldiers' guards flushed red, but they did not refute. He was truly shocked. Two people in a row had reached more than 1,000,000 merit points, and the last one, Lu Ming, was also very likely to reach more than 1,000,000 merit points. Wouldn't it be even more humiliating to speak at this time? That's right, you can be promoted to a first-class heavenly soldier. The white-haired sky official nodded, and then with the same level of note, He took out a set of first-class heavenly soldier armor and handed it to Ling Yuwei. After Ling Yuwei put it away, she returned to Lu Ming's side and said, "It's your turn." In unison, everyone's gazes turned towards Lu Ming. Two people in a row had reached more than 1,000,000 merit points. They were very curious as to how many merit points Lu Ming had. Seeing how confident Lu Ming and the other two were, they guessed that Lu Ming might really have more than 1,000,000 merit points. They were just curious as to how many merit points he had. Lu Ming's expression was calm as he walked to the counter and took out his identity jade tablet. "Senior here." Lu Ming handed the identity jade tablet to the white-haired sky official. The white-haired sky official nodded, took the identity jade tablet and placed it on the array disk. The array disk immediately lit up, and everyone's gazes were fixed on the array disk as if they were mortal enemies. In the next moment, a line of words appeared. The white-haired sky official's pupils suddenly constricted. Even with his vast experience, he was still shocked. As for the others, there was no need to mention them. Gasps could be heard from the crowd. Everyone's eyes were wide open as they stared at the row of numbers. Their eyes were filled with disbelief and disbelief. Over 9 million. Lu Ming's accumulated merit points had actually already exceeded 9 million. Lu Ming only had the strength of the 5th godly emperor layer, but he had over 9 million points. How had he done that? Heavens, what am I seeing? He has already accumulated over 9 million merit points, and the majority of them have yet to be used. Terrifying. What kind of mission did he complete? Or how many devils did he kill? He needs less than 1,000,000 points to become a godly general, but he's only a cultivator of the 5th godly emperor layer. I've never heard of such a cultivator before. Gasps of surprise could be heard all around. The two heavenly soldiers guarding the door were completely petrified. Their mouths and eyes were wide open as they stood there in a daze. How is it? Did you see that? What a snob. Dandan glanced at the two heavenly soldiers guarding the door again and spoke in a triumphant voice. When Dandan saw that everybody was looking at him with astonishment, he felt even better than when he had broken through to the godly emperor layer. His self-esteem was greatly improved. Amazing. Amazing. You've accumulated so many merit points at such a young age. This is the first time I've seen someone like you. Come on, reach 10 million merit points as soon as possible and become a divine general. A divine general of divine emperor realm will become a legend, said the white-haired sky official sighing. Thank you very much, senior, said Lu Ming cupping his fists. Young man, you're neither arrogant nor impatient. Not bad. Come, I'll give you a note. The white-haired heavenly official was very satisfied with Lu Ming's attitude. He began to make a note for Lu Ming. After making the note, the white-haired heavenly official handed Lu Ming a set of first-class heavenly soldier armor. Lu Ming didn't immediately put it on. He put it in his ring. Then, under everyone's envious gazes, the three of them left the military affairs department. After leaving the military affairs department, they immediately headed for the merit exchange hall. Entering the merit exchange hall, just like last time, balls of light floated in the air. Ling Yuwei and Dandan immediately looked for balls of light that were suitable for them before disappearing into the balls of light. Lu Ming, remember to get me something to eat. Qiu Qiu's voice sounded in Lu Ming's ears. Don't worry, you'll be the first to exchange. Lu Ming smiled and found the ball of light that was a waste divine weapon. Then he entered it. Inside were all broken divine weapons. Every divine weapon was marked with a price that needed to be exchanged for. Lu Ming didn't look at those low-level broken divine weapons. Right now he had a huge amount of merit points. If he wanted to exchange, he would give Qiu Qiu a top-grade broken divine weapon. Qiu Qiu could absorb and refine the divine weapon's functions and use them for himself. This heaven-defying function could not be wasted. Only by absorbing a top-grade divine weapon would he be able to unleash Qiu Qiu's functions. Lu Ming remembered that the last time he saw a broken black spear, it required 1,000,000 merit points to exchange for. A broken divine weapon required 1,000,000 merit points to exchange. If it was complete, it would definitely be a heaven-defying killing weapon. If such a broken divine weapon was absorbed by Qiu Qiu, it would definitely be a heaven-defying fortune. Lu Ming had always been thinking about it. Unfortunately, he didn't have that many merit points last time. This time he definitely couldn't miss it. Lu Ming began to search in detail. At the same time, he told Qiu Qiu to sense it himself. After a while, found it. Qiu Qiu cried out excitedly as his round body flew in a certain direction. Lu Ming followed closely behind. Not long after, he saw half a spear floating in the air, enveloped by a light barrier. Floating above the light barrier was the number of merit points needed to exchange. 10000000. Chiu looked at the broken spear, his eyes emitting a scorching light as he circled around the broken spear, constantly spinning. I'll take this one. Lu Ming took out his identity jade tablet and placed it on the light barrier above the broken spear. Immediately, the light barrier emitted a burst of light. Then, the light barrier above dimmed until it finally disappeared completely. Half a broken divine spear was revealed. It's mine, it's mine. Chiu was very excited. He opened his big mouth and swallowed the broken spear in one gulp. Then it turned back into a bracelet on Lu Ming's wrist. Lu Ming knew that Chiu would need some time to digest this broken spear. Lu Ming waved his hand and grabbed the identity jade tablet. He scanned it with his spiritual consciousness and found that the merit points inside had become 9080290/7956790. The number of merit points available had decreased by 1,000,000 compared to before. Lu Ming's heart ached a little. However, when he thought of the great increase in Chiu's battle strength and the special ability of the broken spear, he revealed a look of anticipation. Chapter 41:12. After selecting the food that Chiu needed, Lu Ming left the area. After a while, Lu Ming arrived at the area containing the 3,000 ancient secret techniques. Which ancient secret technique should I choose? Lu Ming muttered to himself. There were more than 1,000 ancient secret techniques here. Lu Ming naturally wanted to announce his choice, but that was impossible. He didn't have enough merit points. The cheapest ancient secret technique required 100,000 merit points. The highest one was a terrifying 1,000,000 merit points. There were probably even higher ones. Lu Ming could only choose a few symbolically. He would slowly accumulate merit points in the future and slowly choose. There are already many kinds of offensive secret techniques. There are also some that can trap enemies. So, should I choose defensive and special ancient secret techniques? Lu Ming pondered and then started to watch. Great defensive technique, one of the 3 strongest defensive secret techniques. It is ranked in the top 100 among all ancient secret techniques. 1,000,000 merit points. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He saw a secret technique that moved his heart. Although he had the first-grade celestial soldier battle armor, it was still an external object. What if it was sealed by the forbidden weapon domain? At the crucial moment he still had to rely on his own ability. Moreover, he couldn't stay in the Heavenly Palace forever. He would definitely leave the Heavenly Palace in the future. At that time he wouldn't be able to use the celestial soldier battle armor. It was necessary to increase his defense. Although the price was unbearably expensive, he had no choice but to exchange for it. Lu Ming immediately used his identity jade card to exchange for the ancient mystic skill and memorized it in his heart. After exchanging for the great defensive technique, Lu Ming continued his search. What about the greater teleportation technique I saw last time? Lu Ming pondered. Lu Ming was also very interested in that greater teleportation technique. Its heaven-defying effect combined escaping and attacking. It was definitely Lu Ming's first choice. As expected, not long after, Lu Ming found the greater teleportation technique. The greater teleportation technique also required 1,000,000 merit points. Lu Ming did not hesitate to exchange for it. As a result, Lu Ming was left with only 5,956,790 merit points. I still have more than 5,000,000 merit points left. I'll stop exchanging for archaic secret techniques for now. Let's exchange for some ordinary secret techniques. Lu Ming pondered. The more ordinary secret techniques he cultivated, the more they would be integrated into his cells and fuse with his forbidden power. This would increase the power of his forbidden power and allow him to fight against those of a higher level. In addition, Lu Ming also wanted to exchange for a batch of treasures that contained a large amount of pure energy, such as the Elvenwood Heart. As his cultivation base increased, the rate at which he consumed energy also became more and more terrifying. He wouldn't be able to use the Elvenwood Hearts he obtained from the Elven tribe for long. The Elf clan still owed him 100,000 Elvenwood cores. He was thinking about when he should go to the Elf clan and get those 100,000 Elvenwood cores. Lu Ming left the ancient secret technique area and began to exchange for ordinary secret techniques. Lu Ming was not picky about ordinary secret techniques. As long as it was a secret technique, he would exchange for it. In the Heavenly Palace, the price of exchanging for a secret technique was not cheap. It required 100 merit points. If it was exchanged for divine gems or other treasures, it would be many times more expensive than the market price outside. However, it was impossible to find so many secret techniques in the outside world. Which place had as many ordinary secret techniques as the Heavenly Palace? Therefore, even if it was expensive, Lu Ming still wanted to exchange for it. 100 merit points for one secret technique. 10,000 ordinary secret techniques would require 1 million merit points. In one breath, Lu Ming exchanged for 20,000 ordinary secret techniques that Lu Ming did not have. There were a total of 20,000 secret skills. Lu Ming had accumulated a total of 1,300 ordinary secret skills previously. If he could successfully cultivate all 20,000 secret techniques and convert them into merit points that would fuse into his cells, how much more powerful would his taboo power be? It would definitely not be a dream to be able to fight across 6 levels or even more. Of course, it would not be easy to cultivate all 20,000 secret techniques and convert them into secret technique runes and merge them into his cells. It would be a huge project. In this way, the number of merit points available to Lu Ming decreased by 2 million, leaving him with only 39,56790. Following that, Lu Ming went to exchange for a large number of divine pills. They were all divine pills that contained a huge amount of pure energy. He spent another 1 million merit points. This kind of divine pill was also shockingly expensive. Then Lu Ming only had 29,56790 merit points available to him. Should I exchange for a few forbidden weapon domain runes? Lu Ming thought of the forbidden weapon domain runes. The memory of Dark Star using them to assassinate him was still fresh in his mind. However, Lu Ming quickly shook his head and dispelled this idea. There was a disadvantage to using the forbidden weapon domain runes. He would be enveloped by it and would not be able to use his ultimate weapon. Lu Ming controlled several ultimate weapons including the mysterious ice rod. If he could not use it, wouldn't it be even more of a loss? The forbidden weapon domain runes were usually used by people with higher cultivation to deal with people with lower cultivation who were peerless geniuses and had mastered ultimate weapons. This would greatly reduce the strength of those geniuses. However, Lu Ming had no use for it. Why would Lu Ming need it to deal with geniuses with lower cultivation who had mastered ultimate weapons? Who else could be more monstrous and more talented than him? It could be said that the forbidden weapon domain runes were used by others to deal with him. He had no use for them at all. As for the remaining merit points, Lu Ming planned to leave them for cultivation in the Blessings Tower. After all, the amount of merit points required to cultivate in the Blessings Tower was also very shocking. According to Lu Ming's knowledge, cultivating on the first level of the Blessings Tower for a day required 20 merit points. Cultivating on the second level of the Blessings Tower for a day required 100 merit points. Cultivating on the third level of the Blessings Tower for a day required 500 merit points. Lu Ming was now a first-grade heavenly soldier and could enter the third level of the Blessings Tower to cultivate. Although he still had close to 3 million merit points, he could only cultivate there for about 16 years. Of course, the third level's effects would definitely be much better than the second level. Otherwise, it would not require so many merit points. Now that Lu Ming had obtained so many secret techniques, he would definitely enter the Blessings Tower to cultivate. Otherwise, when would he be able to cultivate? After exchanging almost everything, Lu Ming left the place and found that Dandan and Ling Yue had also finished exchanging. Both of them had satisfied expressions on their faces. It seemed that they had gained a lot. Let's go to the Blessings Tower to cultivate for a while, Dandan immediately said when he saw Lu Ming. Immediately, the three of them left and arrived at the bottom of the Blessings Tower. Which level are you going to cultivate on? Lu Ming asked. I don't have many merit points left. I can only go to the second level to cultivate. Dandan sighed. Me too. Ling Yue also nodded. They had exchanged for a large number of treasures. If they entered the third level with their remaining merit points, they would not be able to cultivate for long. Chapter 41:13. In the end, Dandan and Ling Yue entered the second floor to cultivate, while Lu Ming entered the third floor. After entering the third floor, Lu Ming discovered that it was almost the same as the second floor. It was also a stone bridge that led into the distance. The surroundings were void, affecting one's vision and making it impossible to see the situation in the distance. Lu Ming walked along the stone bridge. Not long after, he saw a flight of stairs that led down into the distance. I wonder what kind of fortune is on the third floor. Could it be the same as the second floor? Lu Ming muttered in his heart as he walked down the stairs and arrived at a flat place. As soon as he arrived at this flat place, Lu Ming immediately felt a strong primordial divine spirit's aura. It's really the same as the second floor. It's just that the primordial divine spirit's aura seems to be even stronger, several times stronger than the second floor. Lu Ming's eyes flickered as thoughts ran through his mind. Could it be that on the third floor, there was also a primordial divine spirit that was even stronger than the second floor? Lu Ming was very curious and planned to take a look. He stepped forward and walked forward. The further he went, the stronger the primordial divine spirit's aura became, and the pressure on Lu Ming also became stronger and stronger. Not long after, he saw many heavenly soldiers cultivating here. Those who could cultivate here were naturally first-rate heavenly soldiers, and most of them were divine emperor realm existences. These people looked at Lu Ming curiously. Obviously, Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the 5th divine emperor layer, but he had become a first-rate heavenly soldier, which made them curious. Lu Ming ignored everyone's gazes and continued to walk forward. However, the pressure was getting stronger and stronger, and the primordial divine spirit's aura was getting stronger and stronger. Even if Lu Ming used his forbidden power, in the end, he could not resist it and could not continue forward. Lu Ming was almost certain that there was an even stronger primordial divine spirit here, and it was a living primordial divine spirit. Otherwise its aura would not be so strong. On the 2nd floor, Lu Ming could still see the true face of the primordial divine spirit. Here, Lu Ming could not even see the true face of the primordial divine spirit. In the end, Lu Ming had no choice but to go back. If I cultivate original godly chi or original secret techniques here, the results would be astonishing. It's much better than the 2nd floor. Unfortunately, it's useless for me. Lu Ming shook his head and retraced his steps. He returned to the stone bridge and continued his journey. After a short time, the 2nd flight of stairs appeared. Lu Ming walked down the stairs and saw a small lake. It was filled with bright red liquid. Like the 2nd level, it was the fresh blood of the primitive god. If I cultivate here, my cultivation will probably rise very quickly. In half a year, I should be able to make a breakthrough. Thought, the primordial divine spirit. Breakthrough break of the 2nd level break, the divine emperor layer, the primordial divine emperor, of the 1st of the heavens. Had the break had to break to the 4th of break to the 4th break of the 3rd. Now, Lu Ming's cultivation level had reached the 5th level of the divine emperor realm. If he wanted to break through, he would have to break through to the 6th level of the divine emperor realm. Even though the effects of the 3rd floor were better, the higher one's cultivation level was, the more difficult it would be to break through. Therefore, on the 3rd floor, it would take half a year to break through to the 6th godly emperor layer. The higher the level, the longer it would take to break through. I'm not in a hurry to break through to the next level. Let's go and see if the primordial divine sound is there. If it is, I'll cultivate a secret technique first. Lu Ming made a decision. He then left this place and continued to move forward. As expected, everything was the same as on the 2nd floor. Very quickly, Lu Ming reached the end of the bridge and found the primordial divine sound. There was also the primordial divine sound here, but it was much stronger than on the 2nd floor. Not bad, not bad. I'll cultivate here. Lu Ming found a place and sat cross-legged. He closed his eyes and the cultivation method of the transference skill appeared in his mind. The greater teleportation technique was one of the top 100 secret techniques of the 3000 ancient secret techniques. It was extremely powerful, but it was also very difficult to learn. It was even more difficult than the Great Godly Wind technique, Great Destruction technique, Great Demon Sword technique, and Great Binding technique. If it was outside, under normal circumstances, it would be extremely difficult to successfully comprehend it. However, with the help of the primordial divine sound, it was easy to learn. In just 7 days, Lu Ming had mastered the beginner level of the art of great transference. He transformed it into a secret skill rune and integrated it into a cell. Of course, it was not enough to reach the entry level. Lu Ming wanted to reach the phenomenal success stage. Lu Ming continued to comprehend. In 1 month he had learned the lesser teleportation technique. In half a year he had learned the greater teleportation technique. In half a year he had learned the greater teleportation technique. In the outside world it was unimaginable. However, in half a year he had learned the greater teleportation technique. It had to be said that the primordial divine sound was extremely effective. After learning the greater teleportation technique to the greater teleportation technique, Lu Ming immediately started learning the greater defensive technique. The price of the greater defensive technique was about the same as the greater teleportation technique. However, it was much more difficult to learn. Lu Ming used a full 8 months to reach the greater teleportation technique. After learning the 2 powerful ancient secret techniques to the greater teleportation technique, Lu Ming's strength had undoubtedly increased. Even if his attack power didn't increase by much, his ability to escape had definitely increased by a large margin. Next, Lu Ming began to learn the ordinary secret techniques. It was very easy for the current Lu Ming to cultivate an ordinary secret skill to the entry level and transform it into a secret skill rune to integrate into his cells. Moreover, he had the support of the primordial divine sound. Lu Ming could learn dozens of secret techniques to the lesser teleportation technique in a day. However, to reach the greater teleportation technique, Lu Ming could only learn one technique a day. One technique a day. This speed was already very fast. One had to know that this was to reach the greater teleportation technique. Time flew. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 years had passed. In 10 years, Lu Ming had cultivated a total of 3,700 secret techniques to the greater teleportation technique. In addition to the previous 1,300, Lu Ming had cultivated a total of 5,000 ordinary secret techniques to the greater teleportation technique. Now Lu Ming only needed to circulate the taboo energy. All the cells in his body would tremble and all the secret techniques would fuse with the taboo energy to erupt with terrifying power. Now Lu Ming's ability to fight those above his level had definitely increased. Lu Ming estimated that he could at least fight those above his level. This was at least. In fact, it should be more than that. It was getting harder and harder to fight those above his level. For example, the difficulty of fighting those above his level from 4 to 5 levels was definitely much lower than that of fighting those above his level from 5 to 6 levels. More than 11 years have passed, and I've only cultivated a little over 3,700 secret techniques. There are still so many secret techniques left. I can only slowly cultivate them in the future. At least I have them in my hands. Whenever I have time, I can cultivate them. Now I should go and improve my cultivation. Lu Ming planned in his heart. He didn't have many merit points left. It could only support him to cultivate in the 3rd level for less than 5 years. Chapter 41:14. Lu Ming's remaining merit points could only support him to cultivate on the 3rd level for less than 5 years. He planned to use the last of his merit points to increase his cultivation level. He stood up and left. He went back to the second one, the one filled with the original godly spirit's blood. He jumped into the lake and started cultivating. Immediately, Lu Ming sensed a terrifying pressure. It felt like his body was going to be torn apart, but at the same time, an incomparably pure energy kept penetrating into his body from the original godly spirit's blood. It was flowing into every cell of his body. Lu Ming's forbidden strength was increasing rapidly. Even though it wasn't as fast as a battle to the death where it could stimulate the potential of one's cells, it was still increasing. In the blink of an eye, half a year passed. Just as Lu Ming had predicted, in half a year, Lu Ming had indeed broken through from the 5th level of the Divine Emperor realm to the 6th level. His strength had increased explosively. After breaking through, Lu Ming didn't leave. He continued cultivating. He wanted to break through to the 7th Godly Emperor layer. Breaking through from the 6th to the 7th Godly Emperor layer was even more difficult. He had to break through from the middle Godly Emperor layer to the top Godly Emperor layer. Even here it was impossible to break through in half a year. Lu Ming cultivated for 3.5 years and finally broke through from the 6th Godly Emperor layer to the 7th. At that time, Lu Ming had about 150,000 merit points left. If he wanted to break through from the 7th Godly Emperor layer to the 8th Godly Emperor layer, he would need even more time. Lu Ming guessed that he would need at least 15 years. Therefore, Lu Ming stopped cultivating and left the fortune tower. He went back to his residence. When he went back to his residence, he saw that Dandan and the others had already come back. They were cultivating in their own rooms. They were digesting the treasures they had obtained from the merit exchange hall. Lu Ming also went back to his room. When he went back to his room, Lu Ming's eyes lit up because he sensed a powerful qi coming out of his room. It was Qiu Qiu's qi. Before going to the fortune tower, Lu Ming had told Qiu Qiu to come back alone. Because Qiu Qiu couldn't enter the fortune tower unless he had merit points to spend. Obviously, Qiu Qiu didn't have any. Therefore, Qiu Qiu went back to Lu Ming's room to refine the black spear. After 10 years, Qiu Qiu had refined the spear. Qiu's evolution. Qiu Lu Ming knew that Qiu Qiu had already reached the limits of the God Emperor realm. One more step and he would become a God Emperor. From the Godly Emperor layer to the Great Supreme God layer, there was no such thing as a half-Great Supreme God layer. The next step was the Great Supreme God layer. But breaking through from the top of the 9th Godly Emperor layer to the Great Supreme God layer wasn't easy. One had to turn their stars into a black hole, which was extremely difficult. Lu Ming stood with his hands behind his back and waited quietly. Qiu Qiu's aura finally stabilized after a few days. Whoosh! Qiu Qiu shrank in size and flew to Lu Ming's side. You refined that half of the black spear? Lu Ming asked. Not yet, I've only refined a portion of it. That half of the spear is no small matter. However, I've obtained an extremely powerful ability. Qiu Qiu said excitedly. It's an ability. Let's go and try it out. Lu Ming looked interested. He took Qiu Qiu out of the room and went to a gigantic secret room. That kind of secret room was built in the celestial army of the Milky Way for people to learn from each other. There were rules in the celestial army of the celestial army. They couldn't fight against each other. That was why there were such secret rooms surrounded by deployment spells. They could learn from each other and improve together. They couldn't fight. In the secret room, Lu Ming and Qiuqiu were facing each other. Lu Ming, you only have the strength of the 7th godly emperor layer. Do you want me to use my full strength? Asked Qiuqiu. Use your full strength. Don't worry, you can't hurt me, said Lu Ming confidently. He could now fight against cultivators who were 6 cultivation layers higher than him. Even though his cultivation level was 2 cultivation layers lower than Qiuqiu's, he was still confident. You're really confident. Take my attack. Qiuqiu yelled. Its round body transformed rapidly, turning into a silver spear. It broke through the air and pierced toward Lu Ming. He's still holding back. The corners of Lu Ming's mouth rose. Qiuqiu had refined the black spear. If he used the black spear's ability, he should have turned into a black spear. But now he had turned into a silver spear. He hadn't used his full strength yet. Whoosh! The silver spear was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it was in front of Lu Ming. Clang! Lu Ming's palm was like a knife, slashing the tip of the silver spear. Instantly, the silver spear vibrated violently and then flew backward. It retreated a long distance and hit the wall of the secret chamber, causing the wall to roar violently. Numerous talismans appeared on the wall. His attack power has increased. Lu Ming nodded, judging in his heart. In the past, when Qiuqiu turned into a silver spear, he could fight against cultivators who were 2 cultivation layers higher than him. But now, Lu Ming estimated that he could fight against cultivators who were 2.5 cultivation layers higher than before. However, this wasn't Qiuqiu's strongest form. Qiuqiu, use your full strength. You're no match for me. Show me what you've got. Don't hold back. Lu Ming said. How dare you? I was afraid of hurting you. But now I won't hold back. Qiuqiu roared as his body underwent another drastic change. He turned into a black spear, a complete black spear. At the same time, a terrifying aura emanated from the black spear. It was filled with an ancient and desolate feeling. It gave Lu Ming the feeling that he was facing a primordial deity. Primordial deity? Lu Ming was a little surprised. Could that black spear have something to do with the primordial deity? Lu Ming, be careful. I'm going to use my strongest attack. Qiuqiu's voice sounded. Then the black spear pierced through the void and pierced toward Lu Ming. In the process of piercing, the black spear emitted rays of light. These rays of light condensed into the figure of a huge primordial deity. This primordial deity also held a black spear in his hand and pierced toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's pupils shrank slightly. Chapter 41:15. Interesting. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with anticipation. At the same time, he activated the battle secret art to increase his combat power by 6 times. All sorts of secret techniques were activated in his body at the same time. His entire body was shrouded in a dazzling glow. This was because Qiuqiu's move made him feel pressured. Boom. Lu Ming threw a punch. Heaven and earth shook violently as it collided with the black spear. An earth-shattering boom rang out, and a violent airflow swept out in all directions, crashing into the surrounding walls, but was blocked by the walls. Boom. The black spear in the primitive godly spirit's hand shook violently and then shattered. The terrifying fist energy continued to hit the primitive godly spirit and directly pierced through his chest. The primordial divine spirit dissipated and disappeared without a trace. The black spear that Qiuqiu had transformed into retreated rapidly and hit the secret room's wall again. Stop fighting, you pervert! Qiuqiu shouted and turned back into a ball. He looked at Lu Ming in shock. You're quite powerful too, Lu Ming said. There was a look of joy on his face. Through the move just now, Lu Ming judged that Qiuqiu could fight across 4 levels or even more. It might even exceed that by a little. At the same level, it was even stronger than ordinary Universe Prodigy list candidates. Its ability to fight across levels should be close to Ling Yu's. Previously, Qiuqiu could only fight across 2 levels. Now it could fight across more than 4 levels. It had only refined half of the spear. This was too shocking. Qiuqiu's potential is simply endless. What talent is this? I've never heard of it, Lu Ming sighed in his heart. Qiuqiu's talent was too shocking. It was simply heaven-defying. It felt even more impressive than his taboo power. As long as there were high-level godly weapons for him to devour, he could continue to evolve and improve. His talent would also become more and more terrifying. Lu Ming also secretly checked a lot of information, but he couldn't find any similar records. However, after this battle, Lu Ming could roughly judge his combat power. He could fight across at least 6.5 levels. This was a huge improvement. If other people knew about it, they would be scared to death. Taboo power is indeed heaven-defying, Lu Ming exclaimed. He was a little proud. However, when he thought of a problem, his proud mood immediately disappeared. He thought of Fei Huang. She was also a taboo. Xian Yanqing's father in his previous life was also a taboo. However, these taboo powers didn't seem to have the upper hand against the Heavenly Palace. Instead, they seemed to be at a disadvantage. Lu Ming did not think that he was stronger than the other taboos. This meant that the Sky Palace was truly terrifying. Its strength was far beyond what Lu Ming could fathom at the moment. Lu Ming still had a long way to go. Let's go. Let's go. It was a first-grade Celestial Soldier armor. The second-grade Celestial Soldier armor had a forbidden power that could seep into their cells and control them. He didn't know if the first-grade Celestial Soldier armor had such a thing. After thinking for a while, Lu Ming began to put it on. As expected, as soon as he put on the first-grade Celestial Soldier armor, there was an even stronger power that seeped into his cells and hid. However, Lu Ming's taboo power was scattered in every cell. He could clearly capture this power. As long as Lu Ming wanted to, he could erase this power at any time. I'll use it for now. The first-grade Celestial Soldier armor can block the full power attack of a third-layer Divine God expert. It'll be very useful at a critical moment, Lu Ming muttered. At this moment, his eyes flashed because he felt that there was someone outside the door. It wasn't Dandan or Ling Yue but someone else. Lu Ming got up and opened the door. He saw an elegant middle-aged man in a white robe. He was obviously a celestial official. To be able to become a celestial official, almost all of them had the cultivation of the Divine Lord realm. Lu Ming did not dare to be careless. He cupped his fists and said, "First-grade Celestial Soldier Mu Yun greets Lord Sky Official. May I know why Lord Sky Official has come to my humble place? I'm looking for you because I have something to do. I have a mission for you. Follow me," the scholarly Sky Official said. "A mission? Just me?" Lu Ming said as he looked towards Dandan and Ling Yue's room. "Naturally, you're not the only one, but you're the only one in this area. Follow me." With that, the scholarly Sky Official turned around and walked away. Lu Ming was puzzled, but he could only follow and ask, "May I ask, Lord Sky Official, what is my mission this time?" "I don't know the details either. I only know that it was Lord Heaven's order, and you were also personally named by Lord Heaven," the scholarly Sky Official said. After he finished speaking, he curiously glanced at Lu Ming, as if he wanted to see clearly what was so special about Lu Ming that was worthy of being personally named by the Lord Heaven. "The Lord Heaven personally named me?" Lu Ming was slightly startled and couldn't help but feel a little apprehensive. Could it be that the Lord Heaven had discovered something? Or could it be that the Lord Heaven saw that his performance was outstanding and his talent was powerful, so he had a new mission for him? I can't guess. Lu Ming carried a mind full of doubts as he followed the scholarly Sky Official to a great hall. When he arrived at the great hall, he discovered that there were already some people there. "They are all top-notch monsters." Lu Ming glanced around and was astonished, because all the people in the great hall were young, and their cultivation levels were very high. Lu Ming carefully sensed that they were all at least of the 7th Godly Emperor layer. Only a few of them had the strength of the 7th Godly Emperor layer. Most of them had the strength of the 9th Godly Emperor layer. On top of that, they were all wearing golden armor. First-class Celestial Soldier armor. Those people were only Godly Emperors, but they were all first-class Celestial Soldiers. One could imagine how strong they were. Lu Ming was wearing a golden first-class Celestial Soldier armor, so he didn't attract any attention. Some people just glanced at him and didn't pay him any attention. Lu Ming stood on the side and observed. Including him, there were 35 people in the Great Hall. Most of them were from the top 10 clans and a small number of them were from the top clans. Those people looked puzzled. Like Lu Ming, they didn't know what mission they were going to accept. Lu Ming waited calmly. One after another, a few more people arrived. They were all young people and their cultivation levels were very high. However, none of them were divine emperors. They were all godly emperors. In the end, there were 39 people gathered there. At that moment, a few people came in through the great door. Heavenly Human Clan. Lu Ming was surprised. The 3 people who came in later were all from the Heavenly Human Clan. They had golden hair and a unique chi. They were very easy to recognize. Chapter 41:16. The 3 heavenly humans who came in were all middle-aged. They were casually dressed in long robes, but they gave off an unfathomable feeling. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Even if the three of them were not divine masters, they were still top-notch emperor gods. They were definitely unimaginably powerful. The scene quieted down. They knew that they would soon know what mission they were going to carry out. The three heavenly humans scanned the scene. The middle-aged square-faced heavenly human spoke first. "Alright, everyone is here. Now I'll tell you about the next mission." Everyone stared at him with bright eyes, waiting for his next message. "The next mission can be considered an opportunity for you." The square-faced heavenly human continued. "Has anyone heard of the Grand Ancient Divine Court?" Grand Ancient Divine Court? Lu Ming looked puzzled. He had never heard of this name before. But just by hearing the name, it gave off an extraordinary feeling. Grand Ancient Divine Court? Is it the Grand Ancient Divine Court that is as famous as the Life Spirit Heavenly Court and is against the Heavenly Palace? Someone exclaimed. Lu Ming had never heard of it, but that didn't mean that others had never heard of it. The top 10 clans had a long history. After a long time, they knew many secrets that ordinary people couldn't come into contact with. The one who spoke just now was a young man from the top 10 clans. Everyone present had different expressions on their faces. Some were shocked, some were puzzled. Those who were shocked had obviously heard of it before. Those who were puzzled, like Lu Ming, had never heard of it before. It's as famous as the Life Spirit Heavenly Court? This news made Lu Ming's heart tremble violently. In its heyday, the Life Spirit Heavenly Court was said to be in existence that could challenge the Heavenly Palace. It was extremely powerful. Although it was later destroyed by the Heavenly Palace, the legacy it left behind still made countless people crazy. Since the Grand Ancient Divine Court was as famous as the Life Spirit Heavenly Court, it was obviously in existence that could challenge the Heavenly Palace. Could their mission this time be related to the Grand Ancient Divine Court? That's right. It's the Grand Ancient Divine Court. The square-faced celestial being nodded and said, "Back then the archaic Divine Court was rebellious. They did not respect the Heavenly Palace and even tried to overthrow the Heavenly Palace. In the end, they were destroyed by the Heavenly Palace. However, although the archaic Divine Court was destroyed, one of its core worlds was preserved and controlled by the Heavenly Palace. However, this inner world was created with the blood and sweat of countless experts from the Archean Divine Court. It's surrounded by the 3,000 secret magics of the Archean era and countless other secret magics. Combined with a spell formation, it's impossible to break through. The powerful beings in the Heavenly Palace will only destroy this world if they attack it forcefully. If they want to enter, they can only slowly break through the formation outside. By the way, some of you might not have heard of the Grand Ancient Divine Court, but you should know one thing. You should have heard of the 3,000 ancient secret techniques, right? They came from the Grand Ancient Divine Court. What? The square-faced heavenly human's words made Lu Ming's heart tremble violently again. The 3,000 ancient secret arts actually came from the Ancient Divine Court? This was shocking news. Lu Ming was not the only one. Many people were shocked as well. The Grand Ancient Divine Court relied on the 3,000 ancient secret techniques to dominate the world. At the same time, the Grand Ancient Divine Court also created countless ordinary secret techniques. It can be said that the Grand Ancient Divine Court is the origin of secret techniques. In the core worlds left behind by the Grand Ancient Divine Court, a large number of ancient secret techniques and many ordinary secret techniques were preserved. Now, more than 1,000 ancient secret techniques stored in the Heavenly Palace's Merit Exchange Hall were obtained from this core world. However, that was 500 stellar years ago. The square-faced celestial being continued to explain. 500 stellar years ago? Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. How long had this been? Even a divine emperor wouldn't be able to live that long. Since taking control of the core worlds left behind by the Grand Ancient Divine Court, the people of the Heavenly Palace have only entered once. That was 500 stellar years ago. At that time, there was a flaw in the array formation around the core worlds left behind by the Grand Ancient Divine Court. That was why the big shots of the Heavenly Palace found a gap and sent a group of people in. From there, they obtained a large number of ancient secret techniques and ordinary secret techniques. Of course, there were also other treasures. However, there are still many of the 3,000 great ancient secret techniques left in there that have yet to be extracted. However, ever since that time, the spirit formations surrounding that world have never revealed any flaws. Until recently. At this point, many people's hearts raced. They already had a rough idea of what their next task was. Recently, the array formation around the core worlds of the Grand Ancient Divine Court has had a flaw again. The big shots of the Heavenly Palace have taken action again. I believe that they will soon open a passage and send a group of people in. However, based on the previous experience, I feel that the ancient secret techniques in the core worlds left behind by the Grand Ancient Divine Court have already developed intelligence. The square-faced heavenly human continued to explain, but Lu Ming and the others were dumbfounded. What did they just hear? The ancient secret techniques had developed intelligence? Secret techniques could also develop intelligence? This was unheard of. You didn't hear wrong. 500 stellar years ago, the people of the Heavenly Palace went in and got the news that the ancient secret techniques had developed intelligence and could clearly sense people from other worlds. After the people of the Heavenly Palace went in, as long as their cultivation was too strong, the ancient secret techniques would sense them and hide. It's very difficult to find them. Otherwise, we wouldn't have only obtained a few hundred ancient secret techniques last time. The square-faced heavenly human explained. Although there were thousands of ancient secret techniques in the Merit Exchange Hall, not all of them were obtained from the core worlds. In the past, the 3,000 ancient secret techniques were very widespread and some were obtained through other channels. According to the previous experience, those ancient secret techniques would easily sense people above the Divine Emperor realm and hide. Once they hide, it's very difficult to find them. As for those below the Divine Emperor realm, those ancient secret techniques are not so scary and won't hide. That's why I asked you to come this time. Your cultivation is at the Divine Emperor realm, but your combat strength is very strong. You have a much higher chance of obtaining the ancient secret techniques. This time, as long as you obtain an ancient secret technique or an ordinary secret technique, you can keep it for yourself. You just need to make a copy and send it to the Heavenly Palace. At the same time, the Heavenly Palace will give you merit points as a reward. According to the preciousness of the secret technique, the merit points will be higher and lower. Of course, you need secret techniques that the Heavenly Palace doesn't have. Since the Heavenly Palace already has them, there won't be any reward. The square-faced heavenly human continued. Many people's eyes lit up. Especially Lu Ming. What did he want the most? Secret techniques. No matter if it was an ancient secret technique or an ordinary secret technique, he wanted them all. Now, not only could he obtain a secret technique and make a copy of it to the Heavenly Palace, but he would also be rewarded with merit points. This was the best of both worlds for Lu Ming. Chapter 41:17. Then, the square-faced heavenly human said that if they copied the secret techniques to the Heavenly Palace, they would be rewarded the same as what they got from the Merit Exchange Hall. In other words, if they got an ancient secret technique that didn't exist in the Heavenly Palace and copied it to the Heavenly Palace, they would be rewarded with at least 100,000 merit points. That was because the cheapest ancient secret technique was 100,000 merit points, and some of the more expensive ones were as high as 1 million merit points. The 39 young first-rate heavenly soldiers all revealed burning gazes. If they could get dozens of ancient secret techniques that didn't exist in the Heavenly Palace, wouldn't they be rich? This was indeed a great opportunity. But don't let your guard down. According to our previous experience, there are many creatures in the core world left by the ancient divine court. These creatures were originally creatures of the primitive universe, but they all joined the ancient divine court. Although the experts of the ancient divine court were almost all killed in the war with the Heavenly Palace, the creatures left behind hate the creatures outside very much. That's right, the ancient divine court. Moreover, those creatures have lived in that world for a long time, and their aura is different from the outside world. If people from the outside world enter, the creatures inside can easily sense it and attack you. The square-faced heavenly human explained. Everyone's heart sank. Sir, do you know what the cultivation level of the strongest being in that world is? Someone asked. I'm not sure, but there must be a divine emperor. As for the divine lord realm, it should be impossible. It's not the primitive universe, just a remnant world. It can't give birth to a divine lord. At least, those who entered 500 stellar years ago didn't find the existence of a divine lord. The square-faced heavenly human explained. Well, I've explained enough. I have detailed information here. Take a look and you'll know more. As the square-faced man finished speaking, the space between his eyebrows began to shine and the dreamy divine jade appeared. Then, a massive screen of light appeared in the air. On this screen of light, there were lines of words describing the information left behind by the ancient divine court about the inner world. There wasn't much information. After all, people from the Heavenly Palace had only entered once, and that was 500 stellar years ago. It was too long ago. Soon, Lu Ming and the others memorized all the information. Oh, there's one more thing to tell you. You're not the only ones entering this time. Some of the core disciples of the Heavenly Palace will also enter. Some of them are from the Heavenly Human Tribe and some are disciples of the Big Shots. The square-faced Heavenly Human Tribe. What? Everyone at the scene was greatly shocked, and their expressions turned solemn. They were the top geniuses of the Divine Emperor realm in the primitive universe. Regardless of talent or battle strength, they were all top-notch in the Divine Emperor realm. However, when facing the heavenly human tribe prodigies or the disciples secretly taken in by those big shots, they were not confident at all. It was clear that the main force entering this time was most likely the prodigies of the celestial tribe and the core disciples of those important figures of the heavenly palace. They were most likely there to make up the numbers. It was better than nothing. Some people's excited moods calmed down. However, Lu Ming was looking forward to it. His heart was burning with anticipation. A core disciple of a big shot in the heavenly palace? Didn't someone from the heavenly palace take Autumn Moon as a disciple? Would she go with them this time? If the heavenly soldiers wanted to get in touch with the core disciples of the heavenly palace, they would have to be promoted to divine generals. Otherwise, ordinary people wouldn't be qualified. But now the opportunity had come. If he could see Chiu Yu and know that she was doing well, then Lu Ming could rest assured. If he wanted to leave the heavenly palace, he could do so at any time. Well, I've said what I wanted to say and seen what I wanted to see. Now come with me, the square-faced heavenly human tribe member said. Then he walked into the hall with the other two heavenly humans. The interior of the hall was originally a wall, but when they approached it, the wall rippled like water and disappeared, revealing a large door. They stepped out and went through the door. Lu Ming and the rest hurried to catch up with him and stepped through the door. When they stepped through the door, they were deeply shocked by the scene in front of them. This was a vast and boundless void. In the vast and boundless void there was a shocking scene. Those were runes. Some of the runes were the most eye-catching. Each of these runes was incomparably large as a planet. Given Lu Ming's eyesight, he could tell at one glance that there were a total of 3,000 runes that were as huge as planets. The 3,000 planet-sized runes emitted different colors, and each rune emitted a different aura. These 3,000 runes. Are they related to the 3,000 ancient secret skills? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, because he sensed a familiar aura from some of the runes. It was the aura of the 3,000 ancient secret skills that he had cultivated. In addition, among the 3,000 huge runes, there were countless small runes. These small runes were much smaller, but there were many times more of them. Given Lu Ming's eyesight, he felt dazzled at one glance. He could not see clearly how many runes there were. These large and small runes were intertwined and connected to each other, forming a huge ball that kept spinning in the air. Furthermore, those runes and symbols were not motionless. Instead, they were flowing non-stop and changing non-stop. At every moment, countless transformations were occurring. At that moment, there were several figures surrounding the enormous sphere. They were attacking it non-stop. Rays of multicolored light entered the sphere one after another. What a strong aura! Lu Ming's pupils shrank. Those figures were extremely terrifying and unfathomable. They were many times stronger than the three heavenly humans who brought them here. Lu Ming was certain that those few figures were definitely almighty existences. They were not even ordinary almighty existences. Inside this ball is the core world left behind by the grand ancient divine court. The runes you see are all formed by the secret skills and the formation. The 3,000 largest runes were refined with the 3,000 ancient secret skills as the core. As for the smaller runes, they were refined with some ordinary secret skills as the core. Countless runes interweave with each other and are ever-changing. It's very difficult to break through. However, recently, the formation has been loosened. Several big shots are trying to break it. You just have to wait. The square-faced Lord of Heaven said. As expected, Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Those runes were indeed related to the secret skills. He had guessed correctly. The core disciples of the heavenly palace. At this moment, someone whispered. Chapter 41:18. A core disciple of the heavenly palace, someone exclaimed. Lu Ming and the others couldn't help but look in one direction. Not far away there were some figures floating in the void. There were a lot more of them, about 50 of them. Among them, the most eye-catching were a dozen young men and women. These young men all had blonde hair. The men were handsome and the women were beautiful. The most special thing was their temperament. Every one of them had a noble temperament. This temperament was not deliberately displayed as if it was innate. It was a kind of unique temperament that was high and mighty, looking down on all living things. To be honest, this temperament made Lu Ming feel uncomfortable at first glance. Obviously, these young men and women were all from the heavenly human tribe. The rest of the people came from various tribes, and they were all top-notch geniuses. Lu Ming glanced around and was slightly disappointed when he didn't see Autumn Moon. Finally, his gaze fell on 4 hazy figures. The 4 figures were shrouded in a layer of hazy light. That layer of light was dreamy and illusory. After looking at it for a while, he felt as if he had fallen into a dream. Lu Ming quickly shook his head to wake himself up. What a powerful force. Lu Ming was a little shocked. With his cultivation and eyesight, he couldn't see through that layer of mysterious power. He even almost fell into it. However, Lu Ming could still tell that the 4 figures had slim figures and they were all young ladies. The other young geniuses' gazes were also mostly attracted by the 4 figures. The power of damning. They are all disciples of the Lord of Heaven from damning. Someone exclaimed in a low voice with shock. The Lord of Heaven from damning. You mean the most powerful Lord of Heaven who is ranked at the top of the Lord of Heaven? Another young man exclaimed. The ones who spoke were basically all sky prides from the top 10 races. This was because they were more knowledgeable. That's right. It's that Lord of Heaven. Even among the 5 heavenly palaces Lord of Heaven, she's ranked at the top. She's extremely terrifying. No one knows how strong she is. We only know that she once made all the living beings in an entire galaxy fall into a dreamland in an instant. Another young man said. The others sucked in a cold breath. In an instant, all the living beings in an entire galaxy had fallen into a dream. What kind of power was this? How many living beings were there in a galaxy? That was completely incalculable. But in an instant, all living creatures fell into a dreamland. Just how powerful was that? It was simply inconceivable. Even Lu Ming secretly sucked in a breath of cold air. When he had obtained the Gale Pearl, he had seen the owner of the Gale Pearl destroy a galaxy with a gale. However, destroying a galaxy was definitely easier than making all the living beings in an entire galaxy fall into a dreamland in an instant. In fact, it was much easier. Obviously, the Lord of Heaven from Damning Dream was much stronger than the owner of the Gale Pearl. It's said that the Lord of Heaven from Damning Dream doesn't accept disciples easily. Even if she does, she only accepts female disciples. I didn't expect that the Lord of Heaven from Damning Dream would have 4 young disciples at once. This is extremely rare. I've also heard that the Lord of Heaven from Damning Dream is a peerless beauty in the world. And her disciples are also the same. I really want to see the real faces of these 3 people. Some people talked secretly but they didn't dare to speak too loudly. Is the mid-autumn moon in there? Lu Ming kept thinking and looking carefully in his mind, trying to figure out something from it. However, the layer of Damning Dream's power was very mysterious. He couldn't see through it at all. This made Lu Ming a little anxious. He was now in his current body, a forbidden body. His life origin aura had changed. Even if he stood in front of the autumn moon wouldn't be able to recognize him. If he wanted to confirm the existence of the mid-autumn moon, he had to take the initiative. However, now wasn't the time. There were big shots from the heavenly palace here. He didn't dare to act rashly. Otherwise it would be very troublesome. Now, he could only bide his time and wait until he entered the core world left behind by the archaic divine court. Soon, 3 days had passed. At this time, the figures who were breaking the formation shouted at the same time. A terrifying aura spread out. Several big shots from the heavenly palace made their moves at the same time. Buzz. The ball made of intertwined runes vibrated violently. Then, a passage appeared in one of the places. Now go in quickly. Remember, you only have 3 years in there. After 3 years we will pull you out by force, one of the big shots shouted. Let's go. A dozen young men and women from the heavenly human tribe were the fastest. Their bodies flashed and they rushed toward the passage. Following closely behind were the core disciples of the big shots from the heavenly palace. Let's go too. Lu Ming and the other 39 first-class heavenly soldiers also moved and rushed toward the passage. As soon as they rushed into the passage, they felt the world spin. In the next moment, Lu Ming found that he had landed on a flat ground. Those who had rushed in before were all here. They didn't disperse. The aura of this world is indeed different from the outside world. Lu Ming sensed a little and felt that because this place was isolated from the outside world, it was naturally different from the primitive universe. Now let's go. This time all of you listen to my command. Remember, my name is Yiyu. At this time a calm voice sounded. It was full of unquestionable meaning. Everyone couldn't help but look over. The one who spoke was a young man from the heavenly human tribe. He was tall and handsome with an unparalleled temperament. His golden hair danced like golden flames. The other heavenly human tribe members vaguely regarded Yiyu as their leader. The core disciples of the big shots from the heavenly palace looked calm and didn't say anything. They remained silent. However, the first-class heavenly soldiers who were with Lu Ming felt a little uncomfortable. They were without a doubt the top geniuses in their respective tribes. Even in the entire primitive universe, they were top geniuses and were famous in the starry sky. Naturally, they were proud and arrogant. But now, Yi Yu was commanding them in such a high and mighty tone. Naturally, they felt a little uncomfortable. However, no one dared to object. Yi Yu was from the heavenly human tribe. The true ruler of the universe was the heavenly human tribe. Yi Yu seemed to know that no one dared to object. After saying that, he turned around and led the heavenly human tribe members in a direction. Everyone followed. At this time, Lu Ming sped up and came to the side of the four women who were shrouded in the dream power. "Hello, ladies. I'm Mu Yun." Lu Ming cupped his fists and said. Everyone couldn't help but look at Lu Ming. This kid wants to hit on them? He's overestimating himself. The disciples of the Lord of Heaven in the dream power all have very high standards. Suddenly, some people whispered and laughed. Chapter 41:19. In everyone's eyes, Lu Ming was trying to strike up a conversation with the four disciples of the Lord of Heaven, a toad wanting to eat swan meat. The four disciples of the dream heavenly Lord stopped in their tracks. One could see that four pairs of eyes were looking at Lu Ming with indifference. "Four girls, I want to block your beautiful faces first. I wonder if it's possible?" Lu Ming cupped his fists again. He wanted to confirm whether there was the mid-autumn moon in it. That big dream power not only blocked the appearance of the four people, but also blocked their life aura. Lu Ming couldn't judge by their life aura even if he wanted to. Therefore, only by letting them withdraw their big dream power could he make a judgment. As soon as these words came out, the four pairs of beautiful eyes immediately burst out with cold chi. At the same time, the faces of the other core disciples of the heavenly palace on the side also darkened. The faces of the dozen or so young men of the heavenly human clan were even gloomier. The other 39 first-class heavenly soldiers also showed a strange look. Lu Ming's words were a bit abrupt. "Boy, who do you think you are? Are the four goddesses someone you can meet whenever you want? You dare to speak rudely to the four goddesses. Now I'll give you a chance to admit your mistake to the four goddesses face to face." On the side, a young man shouted coldly, his body full of holy light. This was a heaven's pride of the angel clan, who was accepted as a core disciple by the Lord of Heaven of the heavenly palace. He was very talented and was known as a genius with a better future than Gabbard. However, Lu Ming merely glanced at him casually and ignored him. He continued to look at the four goddesses and insisted, "For ladies, please withdraw your big dream power and let me take a look at your beautiful faces. You're courting death." The heaven's pride of the angel clan shouted. He took a step forward and rushed towards Lu Ming like a flash of lightning. The moment he attacked, an angelic sword had already condensed and chopped towards Lu Ming's head. The sword chi whistled, extremely terrifying, and its power was astonishing. Ninth Godly Emperor Layer. As soon as the other party attacked, Lu Ming could tell that his cultivation level was at the 9th level of the Divine Emperor realm. However, his combat strength was extremely powerful, far above that of the 9th level of the Divine Emperor realm. Boom. Lu Ming's expression was calm as a black demonic sword appeared in his hand. Great Devil Sword Art. Clang. One black and one white, the two sword lights met in the air, erupting with a shocking boom. Then a figure shook violently and took 3 steps back. It was that prodigy from the angel race. So it turned out that he could only fight those 4 levels above him. He wasn't that strong after all. Lu Ming muttered in his heart. Fighting across 4 levels was the talent of an ordinary candidate on the universe prodigy list. Lu Ming had thought that the core disciples of the big shots in the heavenly palace would be very powerful. If others knew what Lu Ming was thinking, they would probably be speechless. How many candidates of the universe genius list were there in the entire universe? In the entire universe there were very few of them as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns. Talents stronger than this, such as Ling Yue the battle god and Yuan Wen, were even rarer. Even the disciples of the big shots in the heavenly palace couldn't be that strong. In fact, even the core disciples of the big shots in the heavenly palace couldn't all be as talented as the candidates of the universe genius list. Many of them were slightly weaker. In the godly emperor layer, those who could fight those 4 levels above them were actually the best among the core disciples of the heavenly palace. However, Lu Ming himself was too abnormal, and most of the opponents he met were also abnormal. Naturally, he set his sights on them. Another point was that there were rumors about how powerful the core disciples of the heavenly palace were, which made him think highly of the core disciples of the heavenly palace. He thought that they were all like Yuan Wen the battle god. At this moment, many people's eyes narrowed and they were shocked. Even the dozen young men and women of the heavenly human clan were the same. They could clearly sense Lu Ming's cultivation level. Lu Ming's cultivation level was only at the 7th godly emperor layer, but he had defeated an angel of the 9th godly emperor layer in one move. What did that mean? Even though the angel race's prodigy hadn't used his full strength in that move, it was still terrifying enough. At this moment, everyone had a whole new level of respect for Lu Ming. However, the angel's face was flushed with anger. "Little boy, I want you to die," shouted the angel furiously. 12 pairs of wings stretched out from his back. Holy light dashed to the sky. He looked like the angel king. 12 battle swords condensed from holy light appeared around him. Die. With a loud bellow, the 12 celestial swords enlarged rapidly and transformed into 12 gigantic combat swords. They took turns slashing violently toward Lu Ming. At this moment, the angered prodigy of the angel race really used his full strength and raised his battle prowess to the peak. However, even at its peak, it could only fight someone who was 4 levels above it. Lu Ming used the Great Divine Wind technique and the Great Fragmentation technique. His palm was like a blade as he chopped out. Instantly, the void shattered, turning into a destructive wave that blasted towards the angel race's genius. Boom boom boom, in the sky a series of explosions rang out. Powerful chi soared into the sky as the two sides clashed. However, the confrontation only lasted for a few breaths before the holy light was suppressed by Lu Ming. It trembled continuously before exploding with loud booms. The voice of the angel continued to retreat rapidly. At this moment, many people really sucked in cold breaths of air, feeling extremely shocked. Even after the angel race prodigy used his full strength, he still wasn't a match for Lu Ming. This was too terrifying. No wonder Lu Ming, who only had the strength of the 7th godly emperor layer, had been invited to the core of the ancient divine court. He was qualified. That angel race prodigy had gone mad. He raised his head and let out a long howl. His hair danced in the wind, and his eyes were filled with terrifying killing intent. "Little boy, you're dead." The angel race's genius roared. A terrifying fluctuation spread out from his forehead. Then an angel battle sword flew out. A great weapon of mass destruction. That was the angel race's great weapon of mass destruction. He flew into a rage out of humiliation. He wanted to use his great weapon to kill Lu Ming. "You think you're the only one who has a great weapon of mass destruction?" Lu Ming smiled coldly and took out the Zephyr Pearl. He was about to draw out the strong wind inside. "All right, that's enough." At that moment, a dignified voice sounded. It was the leader of the heavenly human clan Yiyu. As soon as Yiyu spoke, the angel race's genius didn't dare act rashly. He withdrew his chi and looked at Yiyu saying, "Prince Yiyu, this person is reckless and arrogant. He has no respect for anyone. He has offended his superiors. He must be severely punished." "I understand," said Yiyu indifferently. Then he looked at Lu Ming and said, "What's your name?" "Mu Yun," replied Lu Ming truthfully. "Mu Yun, right? Very good. You're talented, but first you offended the 4 disciples of the great Dream Lord of Heaven. Then you attacked Jia Luo. Now apologize to them. I can make the decision. After you apologize, this matter will be over," said Yiyu.